Hello? 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 Hi. How are you guys doing? Sorry I'm a little late. 4 minutes. Kill me. Too late. How's everybody? Hi, Serenity. For some reason they keep having you giving me emotes. I don't know why. Hey, Alex. Hi, Jazzy. How you guys doing? Oh my goodness. Okay. Slurp. High temperature. What does that mean, Serenity? Like you have a cold? Or is it like fever or what's happening? This looks cool. What is it? I don't know. I drew it at a con. I'm trying to remember what con. I don't even think it was this year, honestly. And if it was early in the year. There were a couple things I drew in here that I completely forgot about. So, some of you may have seen on my Instagram. Oh, hold on, Butters. You can come. Hold on. Come here, honey. Gabe's the curtain's open. Come here, Butters. Come here. Okay, so some of you may have seen that I put up these cute little bug guys on my Instagram as a flashback. So this sketchbook's from like 2015, and somebody actually wanted prints of these little bug guys. So I was like, yeah, I'll go find them, because if they're not on my computer, they're in an actual sketchbook. Because what happens is I'll usually, take drawings from a sketchbook, cut them out, and then put them for sale. A few of you may have even bought pieces off me that way. So, they wanted prints of it, so I was like, well, I'll go find it. It wasn't on the computer, so I was like, it's in the sketchbook. So I went through all my old sketchbooks and I found them. But I also found some unfinished pieces when I did that, and this book had a few of them. I'll show you. Yeah, my sketchbooks are messy. But yeah, usually, like, the funny thing is, so if you look at this one, and then this one, this is supposed to be twice as thick. It's supposed to be probably out to there. So you can tell I've ripped out, in this one, at least like 75% of the pages, and I've sold them. So I think it's important early on to get used to letting your art go. So anyway, that was one of the pieces, and then this is another one. I was going through like this kind of spooky caster stage. I didn't finish this one exactly. I still want to. This was around the time I did the porcupine, the turtle, and the rabbit that are on, and then these are my robots from March of Robots that I was doing, my woodbots. I'm still gonna make a cute little book of these, but I've yet to do it. So, but these are kind of old at this point too. This was another one. This one was actually a dream I had. Now, don't think my dreams are really this cool all the time, because I either don't dream, or if I do, they're ridiculous. This was the only one that was like, I don't know, really crazy. And for some reason, when I was having the dream and when I woke up, I was like, this is super prophetic. Oh my god, I had a prophecy sort of thing, or a realization. Like, everything in the piece itself had meaning to me when I woke up. Like, I understood it. Now I've since forgot. However, I have a stream that I did after I made this, like the day after, and I'm freaking out, and I gotta go find it again. But I should have dated this. I'm an idiot. But there is a stream of me explaining this completely, and I don't remember it. Maybe some of you were even there. Serenity, I wouldn't doubt that you were there. But yeah, this one was weird, and there was like an emu that was like dirty and weird, and I don't know, it was like a mix of an emu and an ostrich, and this guy with this crop and all these like dead bodies. I don't know, it was a thing. I don't even remember what it was supposed to be. There's some more robots. What a time to be alive. And then I still got some blank pages. So like I was telling you guys the last stream, once I finally run out of these sketchbooks, I'll probably go through them all again and find all these blank pages I've got. So anyway, I thought this one was cool and I always liked it, so I wanted to finish it. So let's do that. I was also thinking of finishing this other one I had that I started. It was... So when I was at the Furry Con recently, I was drawing at the table, and I like drew a bunch of stuff. I drew this, I drew this, not that, not that, not that. I finished this, I started this, and then I finished and started this one over the weekend at the table. So it's, oh, is there one more? No, he wasn't part of it. But I could tell I was, I'm gonna say, creatively constipated, because I always want to draw and stuff, I just don't always have time to do it for myself. This one was supposed to be an old school, like, lighthouse keeper mouse. So his job is basically to maintain the candle at the top, so there's always, you know, light, you know, he's a lighthouse keeper, but it's old school. So he collects all the wax and kind of keeps everything trim.
The song all the way?
Oh my god, what?
No.
She was mad. Did I even say anything that sounded like her name?
I don't think so.
Oh my god. Alexa's full of ghosts. Anyway. So he's got all these extra candles down here that he can kind of pull up and put up there. But in my head, he would probably have a friend that's probably a bird that he can kind of strap one of these to that pulls it up, and he kind of, you know, arranges it. But anyway, I've been milling about a new mouse story in my head to do. Some of you may remember my mouse stories I was doing, my daily story bits ones I was going over. So I'll explain. There's a tag I've got, and I kind of went into it I think last stream. It's called Daily Story Bits. And it's just a way for me to kind of organically storytell. So there's a couple people that were using the hashtag. I wasn't very appreciative of that. So I blocked them, kind of. But I've got a bunch of different things here. Like this was kind of from an older story. This one was really sad. This one was really fun. I had a lot of fun on this one. It's kind of dark. It's really dark. And there's a cute one about an owl and a mouse. But these were done like in a week or something, and I would try to just conclude them really quick and whatever. So I don't know. I like doing those, like I said, I call it organic storytelling, where I don't really plan it and I just kind of do it. So every day I kind of figure out, well, what happens next? And what happens next? And what's next? You know, without overthinking anything. And I think it really broke me in a good way, because at the time I had a problem with, like, I wanted to plan too much, like I wanted to overplan, which you guys know you can overplan to death and then never actually do anything, right? So I told myself that I should really, one, break myself of overplanning, and two, break myself of being scared of posting certain things. I wanted to just be able to post anything without fear. So the only way to do both those things is to do both of those things. So that's what I ended up doing with that. So every day, no matter what it looked like, it was the next piece of the story. So because of that, it forced me to post it. And then also just, you know, getting just, I guess, familiar with, you know, arcs of stories, even small ones. Like, that's what I was talking about. So maybe the story would be like 7 images, you know, because it would be one a day for a week. And then I'd have to, by Wednesday, halfway through the week, have the main problem happen, and then by the end of the week have it resolve itself. So it was a really good way, a very simple, rudimentary way of like making a story really quickly, organically. And I don't know, I really liked it. It was really good for me. So I've been trying to hype myself up to do that, and I wanted it to be about a mouse and candles. Because there was a piece I had a long time ago of a candle maker mouse, and I really, really liked it. And I kind of still want to do it, like a story about it. Anyway, let me check the chat, sorry. Hope that answered your question, Jazzy. I went on a long tirade, I guess. Oh, a fever. Serenity, no. That's okay, Alex. Do what you gotta do. Thank you for even being here. Serenity remembers the robots. Yay. So yeah, the hashtag for those is Daily Story Bits. The only problem is they seem a little bit out of sync. So, I mean, yeah, it's a problem. The best way to do it, honestly, would probably be just to scroll back in my Instagram. It's not that bad. It's not that long ago. Like, maybe scroll for a minute or two, but nothing too bad. Okay, so I'm just gonna ink this, like I said, because I wanted to get this done. I think people would like this one. I had somebody actually comment recently, that, what did I put up? It was the vulture that I just showed you a minute ago. I put him up, and they were like, oh man, I'm really liking this darker style that you're, starting down. And I'm sitting here like, man, I started with darker styles. Like, these people don't know that. It's a really weird feeling to get, new people all the time following you that, really don't know who you are, what you're about. And after years, you kind of end up explaining yourself kind of a million times. Which, I mean, when I first started this whole thing, I had this really bad habit, or I'll just say a pet peeve maybe, of getting really irritated easily by having to repeat myself. And now that I look back on it, I feel like that was an ego problem. Yeah, it can be irritating too. I mean, that's normal, but I kind of dug into it a bit more and figured out that, I was kind of frustrated that I wasn't known enough or something to just, have it obvious, but, I realized pretty quickly what that was about once I kind of dug into it. But, so since then, I'm getting used to it, especially after doing Twitch for a few years. You'll get somebody new who comes in who's like, oh, what's this about? What do you do? And, for the millionth time, you gotta tell them, and then you go to a convention, and, oh, what do you do? This is great. And you tell them, and then, you go somewhere else, and you have to learn how to kind of almost elevator pitch yourself to people, so it doesn't really get annoying to you anymore, but it also is enough information for them to go off of. So that was interesting. I never thought I'd have to kind of pitch myself, and I think that's something a lot of people don't realize they'll need to do. So, I got to the point I was like, well, I'm a traditional fantasy artist with a focus on animals in the medieval era, and I write my own stories, I illustrate stuff, it's a thing. And depending on who I talk to, I kind of change the emphasis, on what it is. If I was talking to another artist versus someone who's not familiar with this kind of work, you kind of have to cater it to who you're talking to. Gabe, did you ever have to, deal with that? Kind of pitching yourself?
No, because I think I'm okay with it.
No, I know, you're probably okay with it, but I'm saying, did you have to get used to talking about yourself in a manner like you're kind of selling your skills, or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just because, when you first start doing shows,
Mm-hmm.
or you just get in the limelight, I guess,
Mhm.
then you gotta learn how to talk to people.
I mean, basically, yeah.
But mostly talking to people about yourself.
Yeah, which that's an interesting kind of delicate thing too, is to learn how to talk about yourself without kind of overly praising yourself, or, you know, because usually if you talk about yourself, you're gonna kind of be afraid that, oh my god, no matter what I'm talking about myself, I'm gonna sound like a jerk. There is kind of an eloquent way to do it, and the problem is you kind of have to do it a bunch of times and potentially sound that way a few times to know what not to say, and that's kind of a painful growing pain, I'd say. Like, that took me a while to get used to. And there were times, like, I'd be at a convention, and I'd, you know, explain something to someone, and then they'd leave, and I'd be like, oh my god, what was that? Like, why did I say that? That was so dumb. And, you know, through the process of that was so dumb, you learn what not to say. I don't know, it's kind of, it's silly. Because it really is one of those things you don't expect to do. I wanted that to be a little bit sharper. Anyway, the idea behind this one, from what I can remember when I did it, was that he's able to manifest himself from this cauldron, which I kind of thought, I think I was digging into some feelings at the time, because I think I was kind of mainly meditating on the fact of, like, how do you make yourself? How do you, you know, how do you create yourself? I think I was in that mode. So because of that, I was thinking of, my favorite word for that sort of stuff is manifest. I'm not a big fan of, like, saying, oh, casting, or, you know, all that sort of stuff, but I do like the word manifest. Like, you're manifesting something. So, because it works in a lot of instances. And I think here it's kind of cool. But yeah, it's funny. So, since we were talking about it, a lot of people don't know that I was sci-fi before I was fantasy. And even more so, I had a lot of dark art. Like, I went through a horror phase. I think everybody does. You're gonna go through all these phases to kind of find out what fits you best as an artist. I think that's just healthy. It's like trying on a bunch of different types of clothes and dipping into fashion, maybe. I don't think I ever dipped into fashion, but, you know, it's the same sort of process. You're finding out what fits you, you know? So, and, you know, things can fit you at different times of life, too. So, when I was in sci-fi, I totally was in sci-fi. Like, it was great. A lot of the stuff at the time worked for me. I had my, like, a robot Sona. I was on DeviantArt. It was a thing. Like, I got kind of known for that at the time, and that was cool. But yeah, and then eventually you kind of, you know, you dabble into other stuff. And I'd always dabbled into fantasy. I'd always loved fantasy, but it took a while for it to actually sink in, I guess. And it's cool, because I was going through those sketchbooks. Oh, you're welcome, Alex. Is that helping? Actually, Gabe, will you do me a favor? I'm so sorry to bother you. Can you please grab me that tan on the right box that has my sketchbooks in it? I want to show something. Just thought of stuff. Thank you. Okay. Let's dig into an old sketchbook. real quick. Yeah, right, Jazzy? Like, what's weird to me is I feel like for a while I was better then than I am now. And I gotta be honest, you guys. Like, I did that Throwback Thursday post yesterday, and I've almost got like 500 likes on it. And I had somebody asking me about prints, and she bought prints off me of stuff I haven't printed them yet. But it made me think that my old stuff is better than my new stuff. And, you know, when that happens, you kind of just have to reassure yourself you've still grown. Like, I really liked this story. This was a cute little story I started. I didn't finish it, and I probably won't. But it was a little, like, Inuit girl. She has a salmon catcher and a polar bear buddy. You can see I've probably sold some stuff in between here. But, oh my god! Here's the Candlemaker mouse! What are the odds? I didn't even know I'd pick up this. I have a box full of these. This is crazy. Anyway, so my mice have definitely improved, you know, and that's interesting. But I wanted to show this to you because, not necessarily this one either. I gotta find another one. Oh, Jazzy, here's my mushroom phase with my mushrooms. So this one, he's got his own story that I actually have written out. This one's actually written. And he goes around and he basically kind of saves things. I'll show you another one. If this is that sketchbook, he should be in here again. But this is probably at least 5 years old, if not a little bit longer. Oh, I still want to make that into something too. Oh, there they are again. He acts like a big puppy, this polar bear. And she's kind of just stone cold and doesn't really emote much. Let's see. I have started a DeviantArt account like 3 times, Serenity. Every time I do, it always lets me down because somebody writes something absolutely inappropriate on something of mine, and I'm like, really? Oh, there's a baby mouse. Shoot. That might have been one of his first instances then. Unless it's earlier here. But yeah, if you go back far enough in my Instagram, you'll see him. He's got a few things. These are my dancing mice that turned into that one print. And originally, this is the first time I had ever written this word. So they were called the Cloverkin. So I made them a banner. And in the print, I've since taken off the banner because I ended up stealing my name from them. Which is kind of funny that, you know, I made something years ago that I ended up stealing from myself. Sometimes that happens. Let me see if I can find it. I almost feel like I owe it to you, Jazzy, to find you those mushrooms. Oh, this one's really old. Okay. So, back when I was a little bit more sketchy, I also found just the comfort of my sketchbooks. I liked having them horizontal and having the binding at the top most of the time. I might come across some fan art. There's Merida. That's unfinished. See, and I was drawing a lot of humans, and it was like, yeah, I can draw humans, but I don't know if I necessarily like it, you know? Oh my god, I've got a lot of unfinished. Their proportions were all weird. Oh, there's a woolly bear. He had a story too, but it was outdated pretty quick. Just trying to stylize things. Bruni, you're loud. I also had this character that was a goldfish that could fly. I drew them a couple times. I wonder if they're in here though. And this cute, they were taken care of by these mermaids that were wearing kind of like really pretty dresses. There's an Elsa. I hadn't even seen Frozen. Then I started diving into my magic mice. This is probably one of the first instances of that. There's a human. So like, you know, I can draw humans, I just don't want to. I really liked playing with style a lot. I still didn't know what I liked. There's some Aiko fan art. I draw fan art, I just don't like to post it. That's a shoe bill. Elsa, who are you? I know, right? I don't know. I've redrawn the Bat Goblin a few times. There's a buff man. I wanted to give him zebra stripes. I don't know, I thought that was cool. There's a little mechanical whale, normal. I don't know, my sketches are just whatever. This was me practicing some water back in the day. There's a, like, what was it, 1920s or something with a little bulldog? That's before I had a bulldog, too. More humans. So, it's important to just play with styles and different content to find out what you like. And every time I drew a human, I had the most fun with them when they were, like, chibi or simple, you know? And I also knew, since I wanted to do stories, that I wanted to practice redrawing characters. I think that's actually a skill you have to learn, is to how to, like, keep a character consistent over, you know, a certain amount of pieces. And that started a story. That's on the daily story. That's this guy. He has one. Nope, spoilers. Here's a Xena. Oh, that's not good. Yeesh. I am a huge Xena fan, by the way. Season 6 is garbage, but the rest of the series is amazing. I've watched it a million times. I love Xena. I kind of want to redo this one, too. I like drawing birds with random, like, parts that don't exist. But, Jazzy, I want to find you the mushrooms. His name is Agaric, which is a type of mushroom, but there's a Red 13 and a Moogle. This is really old. If I'm not on toned paper, this is really old. Did anybody see Beasts of the Southern Wild? That's actually Beasts of the Southern Wild fan art. I love that movie. It's a good movie. Oh yeah, these are old. There's a little pagan boy with a little goat head. This guy, don't know what his deal is. He's just being a guy. This is one of the first pieces I used gouache with, actually. And then I tried using it on here and I realized it gets a little wrinkly, so. Bruni, no. Hold on, guys. Okay. Here's a rarity. Vehicle. Oh, the people are so rigid. This actually got added into one of my stories. Little dandelion mouse, warrior mouse, Big Trouble Little China. Hey, Asling, how you doing? What was that totem spirit thing? That was, I call it demon bitch work. It was just a demon that was like sucking out essence from a stone, which I have in 2 of my stories. I have that concept because I'm absolutely in love with it. But these are really old. A lot of these were for one of my mouse stories. Yeah, like this is another story. This is a huge one. This one I have to work up to. They're very Ghibli. This one is on the Daily Story Bits. It's not a full story, but yeah. Then I did this like little series of badass warrior kids. I don't know, but I still was figuring out how I wanted to draw humans. I wasn't even sure yet. But yeah, they're not very good. It's just, I redrew it a couple times. See, I was figuring out how to do skirts and things and braids. More mice. Mice and people. Mice. I was also doing the thing where it's like, how human do I want to make my mice? And this one, too human. I didn't like how human that was. I don't like animal heads on basically human bodies. I'm not a fan of it. I still love the crap out of this one. That one's too cute. Plus, beavers are like my second favorite animal. But I think just, play with things. Play with different genres, different characters, different styles, different types of things. It's really important to just play. And yeah, you're going to have crappy ones. This one has a story too. If you look at the Daily Storybits one. Like I said, it's really important to learn how to redraw characters. So I think after you draw something about maybe 5 times, it's kind of cemented into a certain style, So, sorry, Yasling, I didn't answer the second part of your question. I'm doing well. I'm going through really old sketchbooks now. Here we go. Okay. Here's a couple. This was a proof of concept for a story that I kind of explored before I started actually writing it. So this one had a lady, like a mama shroom, and a baby shroom, and he's playing with stuff, right? Oh, that's another one of my guys. I'll come back to that later. And then, there's Sherlock fan art, you guys. So in his story, there's this whole process. This is like a small version of it, but from like extracting from stones. There's an idea behind that. There's reasons too and other components, but this is just kind of a snippet of what that is. But he extracts from stones this essence that he needs for certain things. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm going to be very vague. And he has this little bottle he puts on his head, and he takes it around, and here's the mama shroom, and he pours it over the baby shroom because the baby shroom got like basically sick, and it helps him. So I was playing with stuff there, and then I ended up filling a sketchbook of those shrooms and different types of shrooms. I still really like this one and almost want to do it again. He's playing like chess with him. Him again. I think it is important though to redraw things a bunch of times so you can kind of understand how they work. I know I wanted to draw a big nose on this, and that was basically it. That was all I wanted to do. So, something that I think is interesting that people may not know how to do is taking a picture and using it in Instagram here. Because I don't think many people have seen what my sketchbook actually looks like. So when I put these on Instagram, I do use a little bit of filtering. And anytime somebody buys one of these off me, I make sure they see the original first, because I do doctor these a bit. But I feel like that's part of art, is knowing how to kind of, fix things, stuff like that. So if I were to put this on Instagram, I would probably change a couple stuff, maybe reframe it, and like that. And then that's the original, and that's kind of how I fix it. Maybe even put a vignette if I know there's some more lighting in there, But, you kind of make it work for that. But I think it's important to kind of play with your stuff to know how to kind of make them. Oh, damn, Vinny's mad. I really like this guy still, too. And there's my bird guardian again. Oh, this mom and this baby mouse. And I really like just drawing a lot of nature elements that are kind of together. So that's when I was starting to figure out what things make me me, What things are going to be defining me at some point. This one was nice. I liked the magic. I liked working with magic too. There's an Odin mouse. I like my Odin mouse. He's got 2 little, pill bugs that are his ravens. It's cute. A girl praying to a mushroom. You can just see that I've got a lot of micro worlds. This is some fan art from the Max. If anybody knows what the Max is. I was playing with that. There's an old lady knitting elephant, little purse goblin. I probably just wanted to draw a purse, honestly. Tori Amos, random sketch. An old mouse taking a wagon of corn up a hill. Popcorn mouse. Maybe he cooks the corn. Anyway, so I have a bunch of sketchbooks full of that kind of stuff. It's silly. I'm silly. Whatever. So, and Jazzy, you're completely right. It is really good to go through and revisit some of your older stuff, if only just to give yourself more credit, you know? So those ones are still too old for me to actually take some pride in them, but the one I showed you in the beginning that had, like, you know, the mice were getting solidified. I still have my book of books stuff too. So let me see if I can find that. That's in one of these. Yeah, okay. So for my Inktober for like the past 3 years, I was doing books. And I would theme the book a certain way every time, depending on what it was, or I'd pick an element that I wanted to call out. And I've done over 100 books, and if you want that, I think that's... Does that still work? No? Okay. Look on IG for, I think it's that. Oh, wait. I used the wrong thing. There you go. So I've got a whole bunch of different books that I've done. And I'm gonna make a book of books where it's just a book that's full of these, but I haven't gotten around to it because what I want to do is I want each book to have a little companion paragraph or poem to it that kind of explains it. This one was really cool. I was really proud of that. Little music box. But the fun thing about this and any other theme you want to do is that you pick a very simple theme, but then you do it a lot and it really pushes your mind. So, like, this is like a demon voodoo type book. So, like, you could think of these just like they're squares. This was like a kind of a steampunky light book. This is a moth book. And I mean, they kind of should tell you about them just by looking at them. Like, could be for like a fairy. They took a dead moth, taxidermied it, and probably, you know, put some stuff in it. This one was heavily the Dark Crystal inspired. And I'm pretty sure anyone could see it. And the funny thing is, if I cover this up, it doesn't look like it. But for some reason, this pattern just does it. This, though, I think I leveled up on this one. I remember drawing it and being like, oh man, this inset, I can't even replicate that now. I mean, I know it's a little wonky in some areas, but I eyeballed like all of these because they're basically isometric. So I was playing with a lot of them, but I was really proud of that one. This one too, this gem book, whew, I had fun because each one you had to like research a material or an object, whatever you were turning into your theme, you know. This one's kind of like a garbage nature bark book, and then across is a super polished marble book. This one I felt good about the texture. I really wanted to attempt marble, and I think I kind of nailed it. I forgot what that symbol meant. A Venetian book. Another nature book. This one's a little bit smaller. It's got a little caterpillar eating it. But I've got about 3 or 4 sketchbooks of just books. That was a Spectre book. Remember that? This one I remember I did the day my grandma died. And this is Latin. And I know that says thank you, but I forgot what this says. But I remember that I did this because she was the one that taught me how to draw a scroll. And I was a little kid. And I remember her teaching me how to draw a scroll. And I practiced it. And it's so funny it was a scroll because I feel like that means so much. But to draw a scroll really simply, you just draw an ornate S, right? And then you, like, I gotta turn it to do this right. Then you draw some parallel lines to all the pieces here. Of course, you'd be doing this on a smaller scale, but... And then all you do is kind of mimic the other side. Oof. And that's basically a scroll. Bernie and Gabe are playing. Let me know if that's too loud, I'll go tell them. But yeah, so she taught me how to do that, so I felt like one of the books I could do would be in honor of her. That was a button book, another voodoo type book. Yeah, so that one, it was emotional. I don't know. I gotta look up that Latin though. I totally forgot what it means. But yeah, this one was inspired by The Borrowers. Oh, here's a child and a mouse. I don't like flowers very much, so when I started that one, I just lost it. Like this one, I can tell you right away that the fact I was doing this, and then I put that in, and I was like, no, this does not fit. This is too, like, rigid and industrial compared to the rest. So already I was like, nope. There's another robot from my Woodbots. Rough mouse. A cutie, like, undersea guy with a little fish. This robot was funny. I thought about a robot that its main job was to just go around just strangling sunflowers so that their sunflower seeds would come out, and he sucks them up in his little thing here. And this is a cloud maker. He makes clouds. So I've got a bunch of these robots too. So I've technically got all these little sketchbooks that are technically waiting to be made. You know, like the Woodbot book, the Book of Books. The Book of Books, I might actually make my first Kickstarter, but sometimes you do these things and you can't actually do anything with them for a long time. And what really sucks is, once you actually do something with them and start selling it, it kind of has a shelf life then. So my books right now, my Adorned Animals book, I'm not going to be reprinting that. So the ones I have left are the only ones I'm gonna have. So that's kind of limited. So if you want that, I guess get on that now. Grigor, I don't know what I'm gonna do with Grigor. I love this story to death, and I really want people to see it and like it and know it. But I mean, I don't know. I think I'll probably reprint that one as I go. Because that'll fit in with what I ultimately want my products to be. I want them to be my stories. So that one makes sense to keep reprinting. But a couple of my other books, I think I'll just kind of let go. And you kind of have to, especially if you do like conventions, you only have so much table space. You know? So you have to, once you start making new things, you have to retire old things. And especially when it comes to books, not so much prints, because I could technically print any print now at home, because we kind of upgraded our printing situation. But books are so much harder to like produce. So, you know, if someone you know, like that's an indie artist is selling a book, like grab it. And, you know, if you want it, grab it while it's there, because a lot of us can't afford to keep making them, and if we make new content, we're not going to want to carry them anymore if they're not us, really. You know, we want to carry the new stuff. So a lot of times we'll only carry them for a time and then let them kind of die, you know. So anyway, sorry, I've been ranting. Remembering sketches like there's an age in my sketches. Yes, I learned how to use my markers. Yeah, Jazzy, absolutely. And I think that goes with Instagram too. And this is the main reason I appreciate Instagram. Because if you are basically posting every day or like every week or something, it is a wonderful, wonderful timeline of your progress. And, you know, I think that's important. You know, so if whatever happens to your sketchbook happens, you know, like I've known people to get their sketchbooks stolen while they've been out and about. Like people steal sketchbooks. It's like, what? Anyway, so if that happens to you, you've at least got Instagram that has a record of them. And like, let's say you even drew something and someone copies you. It's also a way to prove that you did it first because it's time-stamped, so that's also a really nice feature. So anyway, do you think it's good or bad to take pride in your own works as a creator? Okay, this one is complex, and I know I've already said, for a couple pieces, I was very proud when I did this one, blah, 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 I'm still proud of it. I think it is important to know how to accurately assess where you're at, where you've been, and where you want to go. And to do that, I think you need to have a little bit of pride, and I think it's important to keep you going because that builds confidence. I don't think you should do the other way around, though. I don't think you should get upset at yourself or, downtrodden or anything like that if you're not doing as well as you think you should be. Or the main thing that shows at least us if you're an amateur versus a professional, when it comes to your art, like let's say I really hated this piece for whatever reason. It's more of an amateur thing to do to say, oh, I'm such a bad artist, this piece sucks, I'm awful, I'll never get anywhere, instead of saying, oh, this wasn't a very good piece, I'll do better next time, this piece is just kind of I was having an off day, whatever. Like, you don't want to put yourself as your art. Even though your art is a reflection of you, it's not you, and I think it's still very amateur to do that, to blame yourself for your art. And I think it does nothing but hurt you because you're technically just bullying yourself, So I think you should take pride in the wins and not worry about the fails because they're not fails. And we've talked about before that there's no such thing as failure. There's just learning, I'm going to say. I don't think it's failing. I think it's learning. So something didn't work. That's okay. You learned it didn't work. That was time well spent to figure that out because the more you find out what doesn't work means the more you find out what does work. It's just as important. Finding out what doesn't work is just as important as finding out what does work because they're basically one and the same. It's a yin-yang situation. So if you can kind of, unplug yourself from the idea of failure, you're free. You never fail. You're always succeeding in a sense. And you don't want that to go to your head. Don't get a narcissistic problem with that, But as long as you're level-headed about it and you go about your work smart and you learn how to critique yourself fairly, I think it's okay to take pride in your work. Because you're like, yeah, I was feeling good this day, this was a good piece, this meant this. Just don't be like, yeah, I'm the best, I think that's where people screw up. Is they let it go to their heads, whether it be negative or positive. They say, oh, this piece is awesome, therefore I am awesome. Or this piece is shit, therefore I am shit. No, your art is separate from you. And you have to realize that you created it. It's a reflection of you. It is not you, And I think once that can be achieved, you'll really be on your way to learning how to kind of assess your work and approach it with a healthy mindset. Not the whole, okay, I sat down to draw, it has to be perfect or else I'm wasting paper, or, my time is just, I've got 20 minutes, this better be good. Like, don't give yourself that kind of stress. Because obviously if you're stressing yourself to create something good, if you're not used to that stress and you don't know how to handle it, it's probably going to be crap. You gotta have fun with it. Because when you're having fun, that's when you're going to learn the best. I think it's good, and I personally don't think we should create just to put ourselves down. The goal should be to understand ourselves proud. I think the goal isn't to make ourselves proud, it's to make something that's true to us. Because you could make something true to you, and you don't necessarily have to be proud of it, but you could be like, yep, that's where I'm at, you know. Oh, thanks, Alex. That's very sweet of you. Sorry, I'm still up at the where you're talking about my book of books. I do know I've got a huge world threaded through them. Hopefully they're each their own world, because that was kind of the point. But each book will have its own kind of prose that go along with it as a companion piece when I make the book of books. But it has been a couple years. I feel kind of guilty because I did nothing but those books for 3 Inktober's in a row. So I thought people were getting sick of me, but the problem that I should have done when I had the chance was I had so many people each Inktober hyped to see the books for that month, and I should have rode that hype train and had the book ready the next Inktober. That would have been very smart of me, but life happened. I ended up having to move, and I wasn't able to do that, so that was a big bummer. But oh wow, hi Alice. You enjoy my voice? Wow. That's something I've had to get used to with Twitch too. And I've tried to kind of weed out my accent when I can and try to articulate and be slow with how I talk. When I first started Twitch, I was talking very fast. So I learned that it's almost better to just talk slower, because then, you know, it's easier to understand it. Oh, Alice, I just went through a bunch of old sketchbooks. You actually might enjoy that. I know we've talked about it before. So if later on you want to go and look at the beginning of it, yeah, Alice was here through the book of books. She knows. But yeah, we went through some old sketchbooks. You survived the piece you're working on. That's kind of what it's about. I like to think that every time we get like a want to do a piece, that's a craving that we need to sate, that's a curiosity we need to explore. So when you say you survive the piece, I can absolutely see that. You know, you are exploring something. You're going into uncharted territory sometimes, and you know, you're brave to do it, and that's why not everything's a masterpiece, nor does it need to be. You know, like a sketchbook's supposed to be messy. A sketchbook is supposed to be crap. Gabe and I used to give advice that once you get a new sketchbook, to get rid of that weird stigma that new sketchbooks come with, destroy the first page. Absolutely destroy it. And it'll suit you well. Because that'll be the bar for that sketchbook going forward, and you know you'll make things that look better than that the rest of the way. So I think it's really important to kind of do whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable in that sketchbook. Because ideally, you're going to be there for a little while. You know, you're going to be close with it. So do whatever you need to do to, you know, nest, so to speak. And I mean, some people like to decorate their sketchbooks. Some people name their sketchbooks. For me, I get tinier, smaller sketchbooks that have different purposes. So, example... Let's see. Alright, so I'll put these aside. And even certain sketchbooks, I have certain things I use in them. So like this one. Whoa, it's white, right? Okay. So this one is a really like just random one I've got. Originally I want to use it for like webcomics. And I haven't drawn like anything in it really yet. But this is kind of my whatever somewhat serious one. And I just got that one. You can buy those in packs of 3 on Amazon. This is my Patreon sketchbook. There you go. Patreon. So everything I've done for Patreon is in this one. And depending on how I feel, I actually change the orientation of the book. So, stickers, that was the Sapin. Those were the Yule stickers. This was the birds and the snails piece that I did. And now, oh, you guys get first look. This is, I'll put it up here. Okay, first of all, you guys know what golems are, right? G-O-L-E-M, golem. You know, there's whole mythos from different cultures and whatever about golems. I was watching Frozen for the first time a couple months ago with Gabe, okay? Because we were the last people on Earth to see the movie, right? So we put it on, we're like, we owe it to the macrocosm to watch Frozen and just have it in our minds, right? We've seen it now. We got to the part with the snowman, the abominable snowman, and I yell out, Snowlum. Like, Snowlum. I'm like, if they didn't call it a Snowlum, I'm gonna be upset. Like angry. Because this is Disney, and I thought that was brilliant. And because sometimes I do get a little bit of an ego if I think of something I think smart. But, so I looked it up. They didn't call it that. So I was mad. I'm like, well, I'm going to make a Snowlum. So January's Mythical Monthly Guardian is going to be a Snowlum, which can get huge. These are trees. But they start with little flakes, obviously, and then once they get to be littler guys, then they combine to form a Snowlum. But there's all this, I'm not going to give away too much because that's what Patreon's for. But they have a reason they get big and the reason they're small, and they serve a purpose for the earth and stuff like that. So, Snowlum. But I think it's important to have, certain sketchbooks be for certain things. This one right now is kind of my easygoing sketchbook. It's smaller. It's meant for more of my tone drawings. That's just for fun. Like just whatever. This is my whatever sketchbook right now. I love it. It's good. And then I have a sketchbook like this. This one's old, so this was before I got my system. And the one I have right now that's this size is mainly for commissions that are 7x10. That's my smaller pet and armor size. And then I have a 9x12, which is a good bit bigger than this. So since I have limited paper left on these, I have to use the ones I've got left over for commissions. So we'll see how that goes. And it's kind of nice to revisit this piece, seeing as it's a year or so old, if not 2 years. Just because it's like, there's certain things that I've learned that I like to do in pieces now that this one didn't have, so I get to add that to it. Little tricks and things. It's nice that it's not too far away where I'm like, I'm not going to say ashamed of it, but I'm not gelling with it anymore, It's not that old yet. A lot of the things I showed you earlier, I would not revisit those. Maybe the idea, but not the actual drawing. This drawing was, I feel, decent enough to, on my gauge. Remember, as artists, we have different gauges of, where we should spend our time, where we want to spend our time. You guys might like a piece I do, and I might hate it. So, obviously, depending on who's looking at it, it's going to change things. I try to keep a healthy ego, honestly. I think it's good sometimes to be proud of stuff. I think it's good sometimes to be, critical and just realistic, honestly. The thing that I think is important, though, is to check yourself. You might have done a good piece that day. Give yourself props. That's good. If when you level up, that's really good. Take a moment and be like, I worked really hard to level up there. But I think, saying, oh, I'm the best. Oh, this piece is so good, blah, blah, blah. Or this piece is so bad. I'm shit, I'm awful. That's not good. Because that's not going to help anything. Saying you're bad because the piece you did is bad, that's silly. That's like saying my toaster's broken, I'm a horrible human. And I mean, unless you took a baseball bat to it, it's not your fault, you know? Like, that's kind of projecting. And that's why I was saying it's kind of like an amateur artist thing to do. And I feel like once you do enough art and you kind of get over that, or you grow up, I don't know which is first, like literally grow up, like get older. Because I feel like there's an apathy that comes with aging, regardless of how positive you are or anything like that. I feel like all adults are a little bit apathetic in one way or another. I think that's just what happens, and I think as artists that might affect us too, and it might be why older artists are so easy at making things and just doing it and being done with it, because they're like, you know, whatever, I'm just gonna do it, who cares? And they're not as, it's like when kids are obsessed with how they look and they're scared, you know, oh my god, I've got a zit, oh no. It's the same thing I feel with art. It's like when you're growing and your art is growing, you're like, oh my god, this is awful, I don't want to post it, you know. It's like art puberty. I think Gabe and I have talked about that before, where, you know, you're still in the beginning stages of knowing who you are as an artist, and there's some insecurity with that. And that's natural, but just as if you were going to be like, oh, I'm ugly, I shouldn't go outside, blah, 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 you know, that's detrimental. Just like saying, oh, I'm a shit artist and a person, oh my god, I shouldn't even sell my work, you know, like, you see the kind of similarities? It's just about insecurity, and I think it comes with either maturity of, you know, doing the work and all that, or just kind of getting older and getting used to it. You know, there's definitely something to say for people who have done a million drawings. If you're 6 and you've done a million drawings, you have a better grasp on things than somebody who is 22 and has maybe done a 16th of that, you know? Ah, shit. It did have a clover on it. Yeah, I was testing a marker on that. Once in a while I'll put a stamp on my books too. Or this one I used as a backing when I was doing Grigor covers. Before I actually got perfect bound Grigors, I was manually painting a strip of gold on them because the printer had offset the cover so it wasn't centered. So I had to figure out a way around it so it looked purposeful. So to do that, I painted a gold bar down the side of it, which recentered the original picture that was on there and made it look a little bit more flashy. So that was my way to deal with that at the time. But that was back in like 2014, 2015? Yeah, it seems like all of these are from 2015 for the most part. I don't know, after I quit my job and I moved, and I had gotten a divorce too, and like I moved to state, and all my life just imploded at the time. But it was good because it ended up being the catalyst I needed. Because I was gonna go freelance anyway, eventually. I wanted to quit my job because I was not happy at the time. That job was destroying me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll save up some money and then jump ship after I've, you know, made a new ship, basically. But time was not on my side for that. My husband at the time, he wanted a divorce because he had he had a mental illness, he claims. Now I wonder about that. He's still a really nice guy and we're on great terms, but like I've had some second thoughts about that. I think he might have been cheating on me, but I don't know. It's late to think about that, and stupid and pointless too, so I don't dwell on it, but you know, whatever. And I'm here now and I'm happy, and I'm glad that all happened, because after that happened, I ended up traveling finally. I never thought I would travel in my life. I thought I'd be in Minnesota forever. Because honestly, I love Minnesota to death, but it is really hard to get out of there. It's in this weird spot in the U.S. where it's really tough to leave. But I got that push I needed. And I did need that push. It was a healthy push, and I have grown so much. Like, next year, I'm going to be doing that solo trip where I'm going to, Europe alone. I would have never, ever in a million years, if you asked me 6 years ago, and explained where I am now to me then, I would have laughed so hard and been like, no, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. That is not me. But it is now, and that's cool. I'm into it. I think it's neat. And that's just how life works. I've had to restart my life probably about 5 times. And sometimes it's sucked and not been worth it, but other times it has been worth it. And the times it is worth it makes all those other times definitely worth it. Like, I have no regrets at all. And I think that's really important to shoot for. Is to just never have regrets if you can help it. Try to figure out, why something happened and what became of you because of that. And I think you'll be better off because of it. Because it's not necessarily like just glossing over the bad times to try to, justify the bad. It's trying to actually make sense of it. And in the process, it can make you feel better because, what's the downside of, not having regrets? Really? So, I don't know. And it gets you to reflect, and that's important to do too. Alice, I'm so glad about your subway sketch. That sounds great. You're welcome, Alice. I hope you feel better. Get some rest, okay? Ooh. Jazzy, what did that do? Can you tell me what that did? I don't know what any of these do. Highlight my message. Unlock a random sub. What does that do? Can I do that? Oh. Oh, it's weird. Okay, send a message. Choose an emote. I can't do a lot of these because it's my stream. That's bogus. Modify a single? What does that mean? Edit and preview. Whoa! You can, edit my emojis. Oh, hell yeah. Can I do that? Oh, weird. So wait, I had loyalty points on my own channel? Weird. This is so weird. I don't understand. So I think this is a loyalty program from what I understand. Do you guys remember Revlo? Revlo used to do that on here. And Revlo is long since gone, but I think that's because Twitch acquired it and now we're seeing the, I guess, benefits or outcome of that. So, these aren't as fun as gambling. Revlo had gambling. That was funny. We had somebody in here who's a friend of ours in real life, but she would always come in and just gamble everything. It was hilarious. She's a funny one. Points. Where are your points? Where are those? 2 times multiplier. Manage rewards. Oh. Oh, I probably wouldn't see my own points. Duh. Oh. Highlight my message. Oh, so I can pick different things here. I'm gonna have to look into this more later, you guys, because I don't understand. I purposely don't use Twitch as much as I used to. Oh, mine says send message and sub only something. Oh, chat. Yeah, I don't think I have any. Did you? So, Jazzy, you got points then for internal reflections, or did you use points to do that? I was wondering when Twitch is going to get in on their loyalty points. I think the problem is they haven't done anything really impressive with it yet. You know? Like, or fun. Who cares about actually, like... I'm sorry, but maybe I'm being too critical of this, but, like, editing someone's emoji just to have, like, a thinking thing on it? Like, do you need to do that? Like, bring back the fun little, like, I gotta be honest, the gambling was really fun. Because it was just with the stupid little loyalty points. It wasn't anything more than that. You get loyalty points by, like, watching. It's basically minutes watched, so I was like, oh, this is fun, and it's harmless, you know, but it got people engaged. Because somebody would win big sometimes, and people would be like, yo! And I think at the time, Gabe and I actually had, where if you had enough loyalty points, you could cash them in for a commission. I remember that. Serenity, do you remember that? I remember that. I think maybe only one person got that. It might have been Sniggle. But yeah, that was... oh man. That was more fun. I guess you could still do that if we could somehow see everyone's loyalty points. The highlight was the reward. I suppose that would actually make more of a difference in a big streamer stream. I get that then. Obviously not here, it's not worth it here, but like if it was on a gamer stream where everyone's talking. I'm actually pretty thankful for our tiny streams, you guys, because really, like if we had a lot of people here, that would be really rough. Especially for me. It's, you know, I'd need Gabe to be modding it or something. Because it's really hard to keep track of that junk. I have a friend who's got thousands of followers, and when he streams, he has to, like, stop everything, basically, to read, you know, and he's reading them for, like, 20 minutes, because he has to go through the chat. And it's kind of ridiculous. It's like, do I want that? I don't think so. I don't know. Butters is on my lap and she's running. Run, Butter, run. Draw a card. What is draw a card? I don't remember what draw a card was. Was that from the Revlo points, though? That's true, Jazzy. That is the crappy thing. I mean, unless you're okay with them being, like, super raw, like your YouTube videos. But I think there's something to be said for the interaction that you get with Twitch that you can't get on YouTube. Honestly, if I had to give you my 2 cents, I think YouTube is a really hard one to get good at. I think you have to have, like, a shtick or something you're offering that no one else really is. Like, I've got an idea for YouTube, segment that could be mine and whatever that I want to try once I get some time. But if I didn't have that, I wouldn't even like try it, because really, like, to compete with who's already out there, it's super ridiculous, man. Like, Ross Draws and everybody like that, they're hardcore. I don't know. I mean, no matter what, you can always build a small fan base. You know, if you keep with it and, you know, you want to do it, you ultimately can. It's just, you know, how serious do you want to be with it, and how realistic is it with what else you want to do? That's where it gets hard, and that's where you gotta technically pick your battles. And it sucks when you're the type of person that wants to do everything, to have to pick your battles. It's like, damn it. Ugh. Oh, thanks, Jazzy. I think I will, because my thing is, I wanted to do like minute-long tutorials. Because I've done those for you guys all the time on streams, like how to draw folds in a skirt, how to do braids, how to do chainmail, the way I do chainmail. And I was like, I can teach those in like 30 seconds to a minute. I'd love to do that. And I have my editing background where I've done tons of video work. So it kind of seems like a duh for me, you know, and I could just be the elf that does these sorts of things. I'd need to figure out, like, marketing for it, but, yeah, I think I could do it. It's just, because so many tutorials, the tutorials are too long. So, when you're thinking of, like, a niche to fill, or a need to fill when it comes to either art, or in this case, YouTube. You want to think of something that someone's either not doing, or something YouTube needs, you know, that it doesn't have right now. Think of stuff like that. So, but keep it clear to you. Mine was a little bit obvious for me, just because it's like, well, I don't like to take a long time doing anything, right? I like to figure out the most efficient way to do something, and, you know, do it as fast as I can, as quality as I can. I won't sacrifice quality for time, but I do want to be able to be succinct, right? And I think that's just me as like a Capricorn, basically. I'm an A-type personality and an artist. Usually that doesn't work. Usually my kind are business people and stuff like that. So for me to actually, you know, do this sort of stuff, I need to have that sort of mentality about it. So when it comes to teaching and, you know, giving people advice, I like to treat it the same way. I really want it to be quick, to the point. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. So when it comes to that, that's kind of how I go about it. And I think, you know, if I was doing that with teaching things, I could totally do that, you know, or do a quick pep talk or something, you know? Things that are very me that I can do for other people in a way that hasn't really been done. And I think when you're thinking of, you know, what platforms work for you, or, you know, what you want to be doing with your stuff, just be honest with yourself and make sure whatever you want to do fits you, and isn't just a like, well, I could do this. Instead of a, well, I could do this, think of, you know, what do I want to do? And usually you can fit something to make it work. That was a good burp, Butters. Good work. Okay, so I don't want to do that. Okay, and these I'm gonna do in white, because I don't want to actually, like, you know, make that black, because I want to do it white. I know, Serenity, and I think I'll always do streams in some respect, because I do think they're important to, you know, just keep yourself level-headed about, too. Oh my god, this is one of those times I need a kneaded eraser, and I got rid of most of them. Oh, bye, Jazzy. Thanks for being here. Thanks for lending us your personality. You know I love it. I hope you have a good day tomorrow, alright? I hope it's not too crazy for you wherever you are. find a... You know what? I'm gonna ask Gabe. Can I steal a needed eraser? Okay, so to explain my logic here, I need a needed eraser, needed eraser for this, so I can take it and dab off the pencil. I don't want to take anything that's going to go like this on it because it's going to A, erase too much, and B, it's going to like leave, it won't leave enough for me. So taking a kneaded eraser and actually like blotting the pencil lead will actually lift it and take away enough to where it's gone mostly, but I can still see like the ghosted image of it. So that'll be really nice. If I can manage that. I texted Gabe. He's the kneaded eraser guy. Is anybody here doing the Secret Santa in the Discord? Yeah, there you go, Serenity. For the watercolors, it works great. Okay. I'm actually gonna go to the bathroom, and then I'm gonna grab a kneaded eraser. I'll be right back. Okay, hi. I got some pretzels. I love pretzels. Awesome, Alex. Are you having fun with it? That's true, Serenity. Health does demand attention. I'm glad you at least keep an eye out for yourself. Butters, I need you to sit down. Can you sit down? I can't draw unless you sit down. Can you sit down? Hmm? Come on. Come on. Oh. Yeah, textures are a lifelong endeavor, let me tell you. But honestly, they're really fun. That's another reason I did that book of books thing, too. Like, I would highly suggest doing something similar, if even just for an exercise for yourself. So, like, let's say you picked a teacup, right? Maybe draw a teacup that's fuzzy, so the inside is wet fur and the outside is dry fur. Draw a teacup made of wood, which, you know, I mean, that's kind of where this whole thing started. I'm actually pretty happy with how these came out. Yeah, they do a ball or a square, but I feel like that's not sufficient enough when they do that. Like, for you to actually learn how things contour and how light falls on it and stuff, using a different object that's an everyday object but has some form to it, I think will teach you tons more faster, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, the ball or the square, yeah, but you can't really use that. You know, you can't really make a book out of that. So if you did, like, you know, I tend to think in products now, and I think that's smart in some senses, but it does kind of push you. So even if you don't plan on making a product out of it, maybe try to go about it as if you would. So, you know, making a book of just, you know, different textured spheres or cubes, okay. But if they were teacups or, what's another everyday thing? Candles even. I don't know, cool stuff. Anything you're into drawing, you know. I think it'll help you. But anyway, I finally got these. So the ideal way to wear it is like this. But I figure some people might want to use them as like a collar connector or something. Or maybe on the sleeves of cuffs, or I don't know. On your backpack, whatever. I'm also looking into a chain that's got balls instead of links. Because I thought the balls might actually look like you know, liquid drops. So I'm going to try that on here too. I connected these. I got them, they come separately, and then I put a chain on them. So we'll see how that goes. Nah, I don't know if I could wear them as earrings. They're really heavy. I mean, it's enamel pins. So they're technically, like, you know, I had to buy both of them. I got my little stamp on the back. This one, it's kind of ridiculous because it's so small. But I mean, as somebody who wears earrings, I'm going to say that the teacup is probably, or sorry, the teapot is a little too heavy for your ear. But maybe the teacup, the little Maybell. This is a Lily of the Valley or a Maybell. Typically you see them upside down. You see them like this, and there's a ton of them on a stack. But I thought it'd be cute to make it a teacup. They were one of my pips too. So the Maybell was May. It was May's pip. They were cute. I might actually make a pin of them too, I don't know. You know, in Serenity, I was thinking about that. I might actually give options for this one. I might give a different chain option and a length option. So that it could be like on a collar. Here, I'll draw it. Because something I think is really cool is back in the day, they used to have sweater connectors and stuff like that. So if you had like a sweater, yay, you know, you were wearing a sweater, let's say, you know, and you didn't want to fully close it and you didn't want to button it at the top, they have things that technically clip to either side, and there's like a chain. And I actually had a phase, I was going to antique shops and buying a bunch of these, so I have like 5 of them. They're kind of rare, but sometimes they'd be like flowers or leaves or something. Another thing, if it's a guy and I have a a guy friend who enjoys dressing very, I'm gonna say eclectically, but also kind of metro. So he's wearing like a button-up shirt, let's say, and he looks really clean, but he's got this little sense of eclecticness to him with like, he connects on the shirt, you know, on the collar here, he connects it with something similar to that. But a lot of people who have the chain things, they just put it on their backpack. So if it was on someone's backpack, it'd probably be just like that. Because the idea is that it's pouring, you know, like the teapot is pouring into the cup. That's the ideal way. But since people are going to buy things and do whatever they want with them, which I'm totally behind, use it however you want, you know, you can do what you want with it. That's the thing about art. You have an intended way to see it or use it or something, and people will think of, you know, much different ways to use something. But yeah, that's an old school thing. I really hope that kind of makes a comeback, because when I found them at a vintage store, I actually had to ask someone, I'm like, what are these? And they told me they were, you know, sweater chains. And I looked it up and I fell in love with the idea. And I think I put it in a couple of my drawings, but like obviously more medieval setting. But I got really into them, and then you know, started collecting them for a little bit. Tried not to go crazy, because I have that collector mentality. And yeah, I just thought that was really cool. And then I somewhere saw somebody with a collar connector, and I thought that was really cool too. So yeah, use it how you will. I'll probably, when I put up pictures on Etsy, I'll probably do it, show a couple different ways you could have it. That's a good point, Alex. I don't know, I don't think they're easily accessible. I don't think many people sell them, so you can't really find them unless you know what to search for or you've seen it before. Like I said, I never knew about it. Oh, that's what that was. So sometimes when I draw something, that's what that was. There was something over here that was penciled in. I'm like, what the hell is that? It was a tassel. And sometimes when you draw a drawing and you walk away for a long time, you forget what you penciled in. Like, for real. So I'll probably just pen in a little tassel here, so that I've still got them, like a couple going. There we go. Oh my god, did I say Alex for that? Sorry, Kristen. I don't know why, every time I see your name and Alex's name, I kind of mishmash them. Hi, Kristen, how are you? How you feeling? You almost there? We almost to baby time? I think all pregnant women are brave. No, I couldn't do that. And I think, you know, the fact of what your body goes through and the pain and stuff, y'all brave. Mad respect. I also keep funny brushes next to me. It's like this, so I can do this. I've also got a couple obscenely sized ones, like this one. I love this brush. You guys have probably seen me bring this out before. This is the one I practically use, like, you know, but this one is really fun to use. I kind of chase the pets with it too. You think so? But this is your first boy. Maybe he'll show up early. Is Mike gonna be home for that, or is he gonna be overseas? Thanks, Alex. You make things fun sometimes. Because I have all these pencil shavings, and I don't like to use my hand a lot because they get stuck to them. So I started using brushes. Also, this is the first stream I readjusted my camera to be in a different spot, and I love it. And I put down this backdrop because this shine that's like on my desk is ridiculous. Like, there's a giant hotspot that's up here you can't really see. But I figured this might actually be nice and soft and kind of homely. So I think I'll use it because it also catches a lot of the pencil shavings too. I don't know, I dig it. Oh, that's good. Monday, oh man, I thought you were doing the 26th. Why did I think that? Weird. Well, I probably won't talk to you till then, or till after then, so... Man, I wish you luck. I hope it's as painless as it can be for you. I'm excited to hear about how it goes. Have you had weird food cravings this time around? I always think this kind of, like, biological stuff is super interesting with how your body changes to things. Like when people say what kind of cravings they had, I always think that's super interesting. Like that your body's telling you things that, you know, that obviously. There we go. How picky about what you eat. Is that because of nausea or anything in particular? Alex, I'm with you. Oh my god. While I'm eating pretzels, right? Hey, that a girl. Good job. Probably ask this again later for everybody, but I kind of want to know now, because sometimes I can be impatient. Do any of you have an absurd, funny, or weird, small New Year's resolution? Nothing huge like, you know, I want to go to bed at 8 p.m. every night, or I want to lose 50 pounds. Nothing like that. But do you have something stupid that's kind of specific to you? Example, I really want Gabe and I to not leave the laundry on the Papasan for like a week. I want us to get better at putting it away sooner than that. I'm not even gonna say the day we take it out of the thing, but near it, you know? Something like that. Maybe within 3 days. I don't know. Something like that. Like, I'm not expecting a miracle, you know? Right? Oh my god. Gabe and I are both bad at it, so... You know... that makes it even worse. So I'm with him. I understand Alex's plight. Serenity, what? Come on. You gotta have one. How about, is there something you do that's not so big of a deal, but you always beat yourself up about it? Like, alright, I gotta fix that. Yeah, isn't that weird? So, you mentioned Alex has that problem, Alex, but do you have that problem? Or do you like laundry? I'm wondering how many people actually like doing laundry. I don't hate it, but I don't, it's a detour, you know? I don't know. Caesar, yeah, like that. That's a good one. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Oh God, Kristen, yeah. If you're the only one, holy crap. You poor thing. Well, when the kids get older, you can make it into a game, right? Isn't that how it works? Sometimes Gabe and I make it into a game. If we have about an equal amount of clothes to put away, we'll race. We'll race, because how else are you gonna make that fun, you know? And since we didn't care too much about how it was put away in the beginning, racing just puts it in the right spot. We don't really care if it's folded or whatever. We're in a different, like, I guess, situation though, where if our stuff gets wrinkly, it's okay. Case in point, today I received my shoe insoles in the mail. The difference between regular insoles and the ones I got is these are for slippers. Yeah, because I wear slippers probably 80 to 90% of the time. Like, the only time I wear real shoes is when we either take the dogs out to go for a walk or whatever, or if I'm doing errands or going to the gym. That's why I'm wearing shoes, and that's only like an hour or two out of my day a lot of the time. So I'm wearing slippers, and you guys know slippers have like flat bottoms. So with that being said, we don't wear real clothes. We really don't. We wear PJs all the time, which is really strange because I used to have somewhat business casual, like, clothing, and now it's like I never wear it. I don't have a reason to. So now all of our laundry is basically PJs. We're not the type of freelancers that are good enough to, like, you know, get up at 5 a.m. and, you know, put on actual clothes to sit around the house in or go to a coffee shop. That's not us. And sometimes I feel like crap because a lot of the people I know are that type. And, you know, I used to get up really early when I had my other job. I used to get up at 5:30, but that's because I had to. And now that I don't have to, and it, you know, I can kind of embrace whatever, you know, creative strike is hitting me, and sleep till whenever, which is really nice. That freedom is good, but obviously it comes with its dark sides too. One being, you know, the financial instability aspect, but you kind of get used to that. You acclimate. But anyway, we live in pajamas and slippers, so I didn't want my arches to suffer, so I just bought. They have them, just so you know. They have them if you ever want, like, you know, arch support and all that for your slippers. You can buy insoles. So I guess if nothing else, I can tell people that. No, we haven't, Serenity. I've been running my ass off just getting things done for Christmas for people. Like, I still haven't started my Secret Santa. I have to do that this weekend. I just finished all those holiday commissions. I honestly haven't done anything for myself. This is probably the first thing I've kind of done for myself. I had to do Patreon. That took a solid 4 days. I always underestimate that. For some reason, I'm like, yeah, it'll take 2 days, whatever. No, it's like 1 day to like write everything, print everything out, cut everything. The next day to put it all together. And like the next day to ship half of them and ship the other ones the next day. Like, it's crazy. It takes you a really long time for some reason to ship 40 packages. It shouldn't be that much. I don't know. And I want to, Alex. I want to put it up to 8 or 10. But I have people that are barely hanging on at 6. Like, I have people coming and going on 6. And it's like, well, I do plan to turn this into a book anyway. So the nice thing is that, you know, it's going to be a fantasy field guide of some kind, right? So that's future money. We call that future money. The money now is just to kind of pay for the supplies to do it. Kind of the time, which once I get enough people on it, I think I will switch the tier to be higher, like money-wise, but, you know, for the moment, I'm just trying to gain people and gain awareness of it. So, yeah, I can't believe I lost 4 days. That was crazy. Because, I mean, shipping it alone is $3. That's half of the price I get, right? And then there's supplies, and I'm basically not being paid for my time. But, you know, if that's the sacrifice in this project, I'm okay with it because I do really enjoy it. That's the other thing. Like, all these jobs I'm kind of trapped in, I made them. You know, it's not like somebody devised them for me or made them for me. No. You know, I thought of the pet and armor thing. That's mine. I made my bed with that. So, you know, every time I complain about it, it's like, Ashley, reality check. You know, you made something cool that a lot of people seem to like. So, you know, be grateful. But it's that whole thing where even if you like your job, it's still a job. You know, you're still going to have days you don't like it. You're going to have days you do like it. It's just the ebb and flow of things, you know? So, I actually really, really do like packaging and shipping things. I think it's kind of magical. I don't know. I still think the mail is, like, crazy. I'm probably the only person that thinks that, but I'm in awe of the mail. And every time I get to mail something, I think it's fun. And I really am prepped for a Kickstarter. Like, if I ever do a Kickstarter, I'm gonna be so dope at it just because I've done this so many damn times. Every month I'm shipping, you know, like around 40 packages, you know, at once. So I get it. I know what's going on here. So if I ever have to do it, I'm primed. But yeah, it's just, I don't mind it at all. It's just when I have other things I should be doing, there's that guilt I told you guys about last time. That guilt that kind of seeps in, and then I feel pressure. And that's when things aren't fun. It's when you feel that pressure, you know. It's like, well, I'm really behind on my commissions. I really should be working on those. It's like, well, yeah, but this has a time frame that's absolutely more important than that one. You should be working on that. So, you know, I kind of fight with myself sometimes on what's more important at the moment. And that can be hard. Okay, I think I'm ready to tone it. That's true. Perceived value is huge. You're completely right, Alex. You're completely right. it's hard for me to just validate that though at this time. I can't. It's hard to tell when to switch over to that, and I'm thinking the new year was a good idea to do it. But I don't know, I wanted more people on it first before I did that, because you have to kind of compensate for the people who are going to leave when you make that switch. There are going to be some people who leave. And it's hard to plan for that, you know. So I keep going back and forth and even asking Gabe, I'm like, when should I do this? And honestly, I think it just comes down to comfort. What am I comfortable doing? And, you know, I'm pretty okay with still doing it right now without wanting too much in return, all that. But if it gets to a point where it's either no longer fun or something else, the problem I have is I think I give too much. Like, I didn't used to have stickers, but now I offer stickers with it too, which seem to help sell the tier because it's also like a sticker subscription. But it's like, I want to do a poll with them and be like, so it could stay at $6 and not have the stickers, or it could go up in price and still have the stickers. Like, which would you prefer? And there's always a problem when you poll the audience, whenever you actually like ask people what they want, because a lot of the time they don't really know. And I learned this when I was in mobile games, like asking for people's feedback where they have to write it in instead of giving a multiple choice. A lot of people don't know how to do that, or they don't know how to assess what they really want out of it. So I also don't want people to think like I'm trying to get more money out of them, or I didn't calculate right, because it's not about that I didn't calculate right. I was totally fine with 6, but it's one of those things. It's a tough one. It's one I have to kind of like think about and then sit on. It's not a split-second decision. I kind of have to weigh it and see how it goes, because honestly, now they're getting more solidified in what they are, and they feel more official. Whereas when I started doing them, I definitely wouldn't have even thought of making them more expensive because they were not at that level yet. But now I really do think they might be. And this is one of those things, like I was saying earlier, like you have to be able to assess your merchandise and your art fairly for your sake and others, you know. And part of that is realizing when something is worth more than it is, or is worth your time more, is worth taking a hit, you know. There's a lot of reflection and reassessment when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, and I reassess weekly. I'm like, well, do I want this month to be the month? And especially now that we're getting up to January, I'm feeling that a good bit more. Just because it's like, well, that seems like something you should do at the beginning of the year, Ashley. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think if I do it, I think you're right, Alex. Because the stickers are like a really nice bonus for me to have, because I can add those to my, you know, what I can sell. Because I at least have it where if you ever want a Mythical Monthly Guardian, you can get them at any time, whether you're a patron or not. You just have to pay a little more than, you know, a patron would. And patrons always get like coupons and stuff for all my stuff. So they're always getting a deal, no matter what. But I don't make anything like inaccessible to people. So there's that. So the stickers, you know, that's why I release them to the public too, but they are, you know, usually like $8, which isn't obscene for stickers, but it is more expensive than it would be if you were already a patron, that sort of thing. But do I go up to 8 or 10? You know, that's the other thing. Because at 8, I'd probably be making like what, $1 profit each one? Around there. I feel like 10 would be too much. Like, I don't need 10. But either way, I'd have to ask my actual patrons. I love your guys' feedback, but you're technically, like, not on that tier either. I should, that's why I gotta poll them, you know. I feel like it's more fair to do that. I feel like toning. Let's do that. I'm probably not at the toning stage yet, but I feel like it, so let's go. I'm feeling reckless. Let's do it. Yeah, but even if I went up to 10 Serenity, they're still getting, like, you know, they're getting the button, they're getting, where did all the rest of it go? They get the button. Oh yeah, Kristen, you're an actual patron. Duh. Da 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 da. So there's the button, there's the lore scroll. Oh, wait, do I have the thing here? Oh, okay, okay. Also, Kristen, I switched up how I'm doing things. So, this will probably be news to you, spoiler. So when you open your box, it's got the name up here now, and then your stuff's in here. And it comes with the scroll, it comes with the little guy, and then it comes with the stickers, which I don't have any sitting around right now. But it comes with the sticker set. And then you undo your thing here. Yep, and then you've got your scroll. It comes with little drawings, and then you get your little Guardian's gift. You know, it's really cute. So, I don't know, I think I give people a lot more than what most people have. I just know I'd probably lose half my people if I went up to 10. It's just, it sucks, because, you know, I've had certain people come and go, like, you know, 3 or 4 times. I don't know. But I could at least justify 10 because they get all that extra stuff. I mean, I am giving them a story every month, you know. But I don't know. So Kristen, since you're a curious collector, you think that'd be fair? Because funny enough, a couple of I'd say half of the people in there are kids. Like, kids in the sense like they're 20s or younger. I have a couple of you who are like actual adults, you know, like with families and solid jobs and things. So I think they'd stay, and a couple hardcore people. But it's weird to have a couple people on there too that I know it's not their bag, but they're on there just to kind of support me. Because I know they hand off their Guardians to, like, their niece. And I was like, oh, so that's fine. As long as it gets to a kid, I guess I'm okay with that. Because, I mean, that's kind of the purpose. It's just nice that, you know, they still support me. I think it's sweet. But yeah, I just have to pull the trigger, I think, and do it. Oh, thanks, Kristen. I know, but then I'm missing out too, Alex. It sucks. Because going through a lot of work to make a sticker set that you only get to sell for a little bit, when it actually is pretty nice passive income in a lot of ways, I don't think stickers would be the thing for that. I do limited prints, though. In the past, I've done, instead of stickers, it's stickers or a print. Whatever I decide is actually, like, suitable for that month. Like, if it's a more not cute type Guardian, or it's more serious, and, like, an actual print of it would suffice, I'll do the print. But usually it's been stickers. But yeah, the stickers have been really nice to be able to sell at cons. Because honestly, those things, like, they rack up pretty quick when they're a nice impulse buy. Oh. But yeah, no, you're totally right on the FOMO thing. For a lot of people, that's absolutely true. But it gets difficult to decide what things are FOMO and what aren't. I actually have, so I have the limited prints that I was telling you about, but I also have prints that you can only get if you order things over $20. And every year I change that print. So this is what, my fourth year? Fourth year? So I've had free prints that you get with that purchase of that amount or higher. And I send it to people or they get it at the convention. But it's just, I don't know, I don't communicate that well anywhere, for one. I haven't had time to, so I really should just do that. But yeah, those are the only limited things. The other thing is, to actually have limited, like, print releases and stuff to work, you have to kind of be well known. Like, my friend that has 160,000 followers, he can do that, you know, and have, alright, got 10 of these, ready, go. And then, like, 10 minutes, they're all gone. Gabe and I can't really do that. We've tried a couple times, and it ends up more pathetic than anything, unfortunately. It's like, you know, oh, we've got 5 to release today. You know, go get them. And then they'll stay there for a week. And it's like, oh, it's embarrassing a bit. So we don't have the kind of pull that a lot of people have, unfortunately. And also, something I found that's really weird is a lot of people don't know what Patreon is still. So when you do posts about it, I've had people message me like, hey, I'm sorry to ask this, but what's Patreon? Like, I don't understand. So I'm doing these posts about it, and they don't really know what it even is. So that doesn't really help either. I mean, even if I did a post like, hey, what's Patreon and why do I use it? Only a couple people would see that, and it's like, ugh. You almost want to be advertising to the people who know what Patreon is, you know? It's hard, man. There's so many little weird things with, like, selling your art and getting in on all these different social medias and ways to make money. I mean, if Patreon was more of a, I guess, a solidified moneymaker that I knew exactly how much I was getting each month, maybe it'd be worth more to pour into. But right now it's a really nice break I have to schedule myself every month. So I'm pretty thankful for that. You know, it forces me to sit down and do my story like I want to do. And have it every month. It's just a little bit. Nothing crazy. No, I don't. But I have heard that's the way to go nowadays. Because then they can't miss that update. And they can't easily, like, you know, unsubscribe or whatever from it. No, that's a good point. And my friend has it. He never uses it. But he always has people sign up for it at cons, which is so weird. Like, it's like, why are you having people sign up for it if you're not going to use it? But anyway, yeah, I've thought about that. Maybe I should. I mean, it's basically Patreon, but without, like, money. But it's like I'm doing Patreon updates basically anyway. It's funny people say email list now too, instead of newsletter. I feel like newsletter is, like, outdated. No one wants to say it. Here, I'm gonna put a bleed sheet. But it's like, how many email lists am I even on? I'm trying to think. Are you guys on a lot of email lists? Like, do you actually sign up for artist email lists? Also, Alex, that pizza was phenomenal. I want to eat it every day. And every time I get pizza going forward, it's going to be that one. That was exactly the type I was looking for, so you rule. It's perfect. Oh my god, Butters, you're overheating, honey. After a while. Yeah, I'm on probably, was it 3 people's? I know I'm on Inktober's, like Jake Parker's, just because that's on the forefront of my mind lately. But I know I'm on his, but it's like I never read it. His, I don't know. I would only do it if I had something to teach or something to update, like, hey, I have this book available now. Like, I wouldn't probably spam people. Or like, I have a new pen. Hey. Oh yeah, no, that's 100% true. So Gabe and I have actually been fucking around with the algorithms. We've been making like new accounts and things like that, because we have a friend who recently started like actually digging into putting their art up and everything, and Gabe and I have had our accounts forever, and this person basically started like, you know, seriously putting their art up lately, and they're already to like half the followers we have, so we know there's something weird with that, because we've been on since like Instagram started, and they weren't, and they just got on it, and all of a sudden they have all this. So no, we know the algorithm's fucked. So we've been making like test accounts for certain things, you know, to see how quickly you get different things and how it treats it differently. And I read a thing yesterday, because I was so upset in a lot of ways that my old art that I posted yesterday got better received than any new art I put up. I was irked by it. So I went looking, and I was like, how is it doing this? So what happens when you do a post is Instagram shows it to a small amount of people. Like, they call it like a test. It's basically A/B testing, where you show, you know, some to some people, and if it does well, then they release it to a wider range of your followers, which is really interesting. They don't show all your followers right away. Isn't that stupid? So they just show like a small fraction, and if those people like it, then they'll widen it to, you know, other people that follow you. So it's not even you don't even get your full people. Like, isn't that stupid? I was so upset when I read that. I was like, really? So there is so much funkiness going on with all that. So in that sense, yeah, an email list would be great, as long as they don't either put me under spam or, you know, anything like that. But I was like, man, what is the purpose of somebody following you then if they never see it? So the only way to really combat that, and to kind of get into being this test number of people that, like, if you guys, let's use you as an example. If you guys wanted to be part of that test group, apparently that test group is decided by who interacts the most on, you know, your page in terms of liking, commenting, all that kind of stuff. So if you're just more active on someone's Instagram page, it's going to make them, or make Instagram know you're a bigger fan, so you're gonna, you know, be put up in the ranks of seeing it first, all that kind of crap. So it's just maddening, because it's like, that's not how art should be, you know? And of course they always give, you know, precedence to those that have more followers, because they're potential influencers and such. So little guys like me, who have been on forever and still don't have over 10K, because once you hit 10K, you get a bunch of different like business tools you can use, like the swipe up feature in your stories. You only get that once you get up to 10K. So you know, that's one of the things. The other thing is, once you reach this one threshold, I forget how much it is exactly, but you reach a threshold of followers, and they say it's like an avalanche after that point, where people will start following you just because they see other people, like a ton of other people, follow you. So there's almost like no doubt that they'll like what you post because, well, they figure so many other people like what you do, why wouldn't I? So then they just auto follow you when they see your follower count. So there's all this, like, you know, philosophy and psychological crap to it, where it's like when I get really far into that, I usually get upset. So I just kind of pull back and say, I don't care. I'm just going to post what I post. If, you know, if I get known or whatever, cool. If I don't, cool. You know, it just sucks because in a lot of ways, there's nothing you can really do. Yeah, I have probably put at least $500 into advertising on Facebook and Instagram over the past couple years. It's nice because you can write it off, but I shouldn't have to do it. You know, I shouldn't have to do anything like that. But yeah, absolutely you need to do monetization now, and it sucks. It really sucks. Like, we had a talk on that a couple streams back, where if your goal right now is to get followers, you basically have to pay to get monetization. However, do not ever buy followers. That will actually shadow ban you, which on Instagram, shadow banning is basically making it so no one sees your posts. And you usually do not know if you're shadow banned. There's only a couple ways to tell if you've been shadow banned, and it's stupid. It sucks. Like, it feels super dishonest that they're doing this crap. But yeah, to actually, like, be an artist that's not well known right off the bat or goes viral or anything nowadays, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. How do I want to do this part? So whenever I get really overwhelmed by all this crap, because I'm fucking in it, you know, I'm knee deep up to my neck, if that even, I'm in it, and I've been in it for a while now. Like, I always just come back to just do the art and post it. Like, anytime I get overwhelmed by this, which is pretty often, because, you know, when you know the algorithms are against you, when you know you have to pay to succeed, it's like mobile games, you have to pay to play. It's crap. Like, I get mad about that. Then it's like everyone is against you, like the world's against you. How are you going to get business? How are you going to succeed? And that's when it comes back to good old-fashioned face-to-face stuff. And that's why, Alex, in your case, that's why I did not turn down and even encourage seeing you in person. Like, building these kind of relationships, building networking. Like, nothing replaces networking, especially, you know, on a person-to-person basis. I mean, it goes so far on, you know, online, but to be able to do it in person, you know, that's, you can't really buy that, you know. So that's also a thing where a lot of people don't do that. A lot of artists won't leave their house to go to a con or anything like that. A lot of artists can't. So if you can make yourself stand out by doing something other people won't, that's going to help you too. And it sucks because a lot of artists are introverted. A lot of artists wouldn't want to do that. I'm lucky, I feel like, because I consider myself an ambivert, so I can do both. Granted, I really do need to recharge at the end of the day when I'm at a convention and whatnot, but I don't know, it sucks. This is such a weird time to be a creative. Oh, Serenity, are you asking that account that I was talking about that, like, ramped up faster than me and Gabe? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, they order the post differently completely. It's so weird. Yeah, in your case, it's about being healthy. A lot of artists do have a lot of health issues, too, and this doesn't help them at all, either. You know, I totally feel you on that. But yeah, every time somebody tells me they want to get into either being freelance or, you know, working for themselves, I'm like, you gotta be fucking ready for this. It's tough. I consider myself a pretty strong-minded individual, and because I've been through a lot of fucking shit. I'll say that. I've been through a lot. So I'm pretty mentally strong, but sometimes just the sheer what you gotta tell yourself to stay in the game when you're freelancing now, it's ridiculous. And it sucks too if you're the type of person who likes to make people's lives better and worry about the state of things, like if you get caught up in politics kind of, or like you're worried about, you know, the morale of the state of people, you know, things that are all out of your control. If you're one of those people, doing this is hard because you have to come back and like recoil into your shell more than ever, because if you don't, you're gonna make yourself sick. So you know, you get too worried about things you can't control, and it's just, you have to remember what you can and can't control. And that's a hard thing, especially for a control freak, to admit. So, it's been a battle. But yeah, it's very scary. Yeah, so they do originals, yeah. It's all original, actually. Which I'm very proud of them for. I'm very happy for them. And I'm glad they're getting acclaim because, I mean, we kind of artistically raised them, I guess, the past couple of years. But it's like their stuff is more liked than ours, which is fine. That's a demographic thing. We can't help that. And I was talking to somebody else today about demographic, and some people luck into getting more followers and stuff and fans because they like to draw what's popular. They like to draw, you know, pretty girls, flowers, you know, whatever's in at the time, and that's what they genuinely like to draw. Those people will just honestly gain more, like, garner attention than most other people because, you know, they just naturally like to draw what is in. Gabe and I, definitely not. The things we're into are either niche, weird, or just never come into style. You know, my art has kind of come and gone into style, like it never stays. Like, it was funny, when Peter Rabbit came out, you know, people are like, oh yeah, animals in costumes and all that stuff. And then it went, and then Dark Crystal came back, and I was like, oh man, now that Dark Crystal's back, maybe, you know, my style will be in again. And it's like, no, not really. It didn't hit as hard as I thought it would. So, it's funny. Just to, as long as you know that, though, I think it's okay, and as long as you're okay with it, because it's like the things I'm into, not everybody's into, you know. And I think that's fine. Like, I have some friends that are very popular, and it's like, I don't really like their art. It's not my thing. And I think my art isn't their thing, and it's just, that's just understood, I think. You know, you're not gonna like everything everybody makes. That's okay. They have to tell us their secret. Well, so there's a style, like I said, and they kind of have it where, you know, the younger generation kind of gravitates towards it. So I think they got lucky in that sense. And their content, like what they draw, as well as how they draw it, they're batting 100. So, I mean, if that's what they like to draw, they're happy and people like it, then they lucked out. That's the jackpot. Like if animals and outfits and whatever comes back in, and like, you know, cottagecore, as it's known, I guess, comes into being popular again, then that's my time. But if it doesn't, that's okay, because ultimately, this is what I want to do. And you know, if I luck out and people like it too, cool. If not, I still feel lucky because I'm doing it and it's what I like to do. That's why you should never do or sell fan art. Because you're doing what's popular, whether you like it or not, most of the time. There are some people that just draw it because it's in at the time, and that's not good. So don't draw what's popular. Do what you want to draw, you know, because that's going to be timeless. Doing what you enjoy is the whole reason to create art. Doing what's popular doesn't necessarily mean you're going to enjoy it. So why do it? I mean, Gabe and I usually call it the Tumblr style, where it looks like it's a specific look that like Tumblr has in a lot of its art. And it's usually really good. It's usually really expressive, but they usually use the same kind of color palette, same kind of styling, and all that kind of stuff. So I'd say it's an actual like genre of art almost. I just wouldn't know what to call it, but it is popular, you know. It's kind of the one you see whenever you go to a convention, or at least an anime con. They have it everywhere. If it's not anime, it's this style. So, it's just interesting, I guess. God, this is blown the fuck out. Hold on. Yeah, that's more like the colors it is. There we go. What are you guys working on? Is anybody working on anything? Yep. I have gone to ASIN. This will be the first year I haven't gone in 2020. I am going to stop going to ASIN. I actually do really poorly at anime cons. For a couple of reasons. I have expensive stuff. My style is not anime, nor close to it, nor fan art. Which ASIN is nice because it breaches into the Comic-Con demographic a smidge. So I never did horrible there. That was actually my best anime con. But when I did smaller anime cons, that demographic was not good. There's a con going on right now in Chicago called Con Alt Delete. And it's very small. It's an anime con. And Gabe and I usually did pretty poorly at it because it's so small that the people that do big cons don't go there. So that means you're not going to make a ton of money unless you do fan art or you sell like trinkets and things that are kind of cheap. So the reason for that is typically the smaller cons are cheaper to get into, and they usually, especially anime cons, have kids. The majority of the demographic that goes there are kids. And I'm talking like 15 to 25-year-olds, right? So they may not have a sturdy job yet or anything. They like what they like at the time. They're going to look for their favorite characters. So the the example we kind of use every time we talk about it is there's like a 15-year-old kid, got dropped off by his grandma, right? Is there to mainly hang out with his friends in a place that's not the mall or the library or anything like that. It's cheap to get into, if not free, and she gave him $20. And she's like, all right, here's $20. I'm going to pick you up at 5 p.m. You know, go do what you're going to do, and, you know, call me if you need me. That sort of thing. Like, that's kind of the scenario we give. And for the most part, it's totally true. Like, the kids, they have like a 20, and they're like, oh, I can only buy one print. What am I going to buy? Oh, I'm going to buy Soshiki from, you know, this thing. And it's, you know, it's the character they love and they know. And that's where fan art really hurts original creators. It's like, man, you know, these kids are going to buy what they know. It's almost like exploitation of their nostalgia and their memories and stuff. So they're going to buy that. You know, that's what they know. So Gabe and I, it's funny because we'll usually get the demographic we get there are the people that brought the kids. So I usually get a grandma or two at my table who's checking out my stuff, or a mom, and he usually gets like, you know, dads and stuff or uncles that come by. But it's like, you know, you're probably in the wrong area when that happens more than enough. So that happened a couple years in a row at a few smaller anime cons, so we ruled out smaller anime cons. And then once I realized my time was a little bit more precious and next year I wanted to create more than I wanted to sell, I decided not to apply for ASIN. Because ASIN I usually make about a fourth of what I do at normal cons, but because it's pretty local, I usually try to go. Because it's decently cheap, I can split the room and all that stuff, but next year it's not really worth it. Maybe the year after that. But it's kind of like a mix of who you'd see at C2E2 and the 15-year-old with $20, you know. You can't find them. That is something weird that was making me feel a little bit old, I guess. Like the fact that hashtags on Twitter don't even really matter anymore. Like they search by just what your tweet has in it. That was news. I didn't realize that. But yeah, speaking of anime cons, the worst con I ever went to was an anime con. And it used to be a pretty good one in the Chicagoland area, according to Gabe. Just background, Gabe's been doing cons for like 20 years. Okay, he beats all of our, like, group out of the water. We've all been doing it under about 5 years. He's been doing it for 20. He was doing it before fan art was there. When cons used to be for professionals only. Like you would go to a convention just to see, you know, the people that actually worked on these properties. Not regular artists, no one like that. He was there before they even opened it up to the public. So, we went to this con that, you know, Gabe said used to be good. And it did. You know, it used to be good. I had heard that from a few people. So we went, and it just was horrid. Over 3 days, I made $90. It was so bad. It was super pathetic of a turnout. There were maybe like 50 people at the entire con. And Gabe was saying that because they moved the location and it wasn't somewhere where public transit could get to it, it was suffering like horrifically. So that really, really sucked. I think that was during my first year of cons I did that. So I was like, this isn't normal, right? And he's like, no. This was not normal. And, you know, in the first year of doing cons, I did little cons, and then I worked up to medium cons, and then at the end of the year, I was doing New York Comic Con, my first year of cons. So I learned a lot. So, yeah, $90 a whole weekend. Yeah, Kristen, you know that feel, right? You know what I'm talking about, like how much that actually would be. Like, I mean, at least FurryCon, like, that got us some money. But not, you know, it wasn't worth our 20-hour drive there. But, you know, FurryCon was okay. If it was local, I'd totally do it again. Because I really liked the atmosphere, but, like, can you imagine, Kristen, making just $90 over a 3-day weekend? It's insane. Absolutely insane. Luckily, I've had good cons since then, but yeah, that one con blew my mind. And I mean, I could kind of tell. I was like, they're not usually like this, right? And Gabe was like, no. I was like, yeah, I didn't think so. 'Cause that's weird. It was really bad. No, I think I had a pretty good ease into doing conventions. I was lucky. I at first watched people behind the table do it, then I started doing it on a small scale, medium scale, large scale. I had a pretty good ramp up, I think. What do you mean for us? What did we do? We helped? Really? Oh, Butters. Butters, you're too warm. I didn't know we helped. That's awesome. FairyCon's attendance did seem kind of down that year. Like, it seemed like it knew it was usually a good con, but something was weird. Alright. Now the fun part. I'm gonna put some light, I think, coming out of here. Oh, let's make it gooey. Get the goo going. Yeah, if you guys have any questions on conventions, let me know. Yeah, I mean, Serenity, let's see. The Frouds were there minus Brian. Brian wasn't there, but Toby and Wendy were there. Corey Godby was the guest of honor. I think majority of the fantasy artists that are usually at Comic-Cons, they were there. A few of them at least, maybe up to 5. It was pretty small though. Like the con overall, it was pretty small. Yeah, Kristen, or if you had like a little stuffed fairy of some kind. I could see that. Oh, I did help? Oh my god. I didn't know Gabe Soul a mermaid. How did he do that? I am a fan of Tony DiTerlizzi, though I noticed early on he and I were a little close in style, so I didn't want to get too close to watching his stuff for fear that I would accidentally bite off him. Like, I didn't want to accidentally take any of his stuff, but I've been compared to him before, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I enjoy Spiderwick Chronicles art and a couple of his fairies. Like I said, I try not to look too deep into it because I'm too scared to steal stuff. Because as an artist, there are things, and Gabe's even stolen from me, and he didn't even know it. So I know this for a fact, that as artists, this is where the great artists steal thing comes in. They don't mean literally steal. They mean that you absorb another thing that you like, and that you regurgitate it in your own way. Like in your own style, hopefully so it's not recognizable as someone else's, thing, but it's got your spin on it. That's the great artist steal aspect. So, the fact when people notice that I'm a Brian Froud fan without me drawing anything related or close to Brian Froud, that means I did something right. Because I love his work, and I've never studied it directly. I've never redrawn it or anything like that. I just look at it, like it, whatever. And it just, like, something about the spirit of it works itself into your work. And I think that's very magical when that happens. So with Tony, though, I notice the way he draws people, and sometimes even his creatures. I was like, oh boy, this might be a little too close to me. So I wanted to kind of avoid that scariness. Nightshade! 27. You guys. Holy shit. Nightshade, that's crazy. Hell yeah, Turtle Dove. Cool. Thanks for the Turtle Dove, Nightshade, and the 27 months. How are you? I miss you. How are you doing? Yeah, Serenity, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys start getting more cons like we do, except yours are like smaller and whatnot. Smaller than those big Comic-Cons, because if your big Comic-Cons are like overrun, I would not be surprised that, you'd start having smaller ones like we do. I think that's the whole reason people start doing smaller Comic Cons. How do I want to do this? Where's the light source? Yay, Chieftain! He's still okay. Good. I'm happy to hear that. Oh, one FurryCon. I think I know the FurryCon. I had a bunch of people at the furry convention I went to, vended at, what have you, tell me about the European FurryCon. Which is funny, because, you know, I gotta be honest, I went into it thinking there were a lot more furry cons than there apparently are. There aren't that many. Apparently the one I went to is the biggest one in the States. And I was like, what? Apparently, which blew my mind. I mean, it was decent sized. It'd be like a medium sized con, like normal con, but, I mean, I had no idea that was the biggest one. So they had said that it recently beat out the FurryCon that's in Europe, which is apparently the one you're talking about, Serenity. Not bad, Nightshade. We're stressed, but what's new, right? You know me and Gabe. We're doing good, though. I was smart and did a lot of my holiday commissions early, so I wasn't scrambling. But I was scrambling when it came to Patreon. Nightshade, you give your Patreon stuff to your niece, was it? Is that true? I remember you saying something about that. I could see that. Oh, he's dressed up like a reindeer? Oh. Why don't you put a picture of it on your Instagram? I'd love to see that. Oh, he's such a cute baby. How have you been, Nightshade? You do that one thing yet? Super vague. Vague booking. Alex, who's your favorite artist right now? I know you mentioned a bunch when we had talked, but, like, do you have one lately? You're super jonesing on? Really? Oh, Nightshade. Oh. I love that she loves them. I think I'd like her. If she likes those, oh, I think we'd get along. I'm glad she likes them. Oh my god. Nightshade, I need your, like, honest opinion, okay? I need you to be super honest with me. If I raise that price to 10, do you think people would pull out of it? Or do you think that that's still fair? Like, what is your honest opinion on that? And you know I'm tough. I can take it, so tell me the truth. Because honestly, you're an even better probably example because you're not artistically inclined so much. Like, you're not an artist. At least not, you know, professionally. So asking you this would probably be good because I think majority of the people aren't artists. Really? Oh my god. Oh. I'm so glad she likes that drawing. Oh my god. God, that makes me so happy. I'm so glad. That's why I do this shit. Damn it. Stuff like that. Oh my god. Sorry, every time somebody says something like that, I gotta take a minute because, like, I like holding on to that. That's a good one. Oh, okay. See, you get it. You get it. I wonder if anybody gets the box and they see it and they're like, "This is $3 to ship? I paid $6." You know? So you think it's totally reasonable? Okay. I was gonna put up a poll for people to vote on a certain thing, but I'm like, you know, if I'm gonna do it, I should probably just do it. But at the same time, I'm a little bit worried because I know I'm gonna have drop off. And it's like, I gotta almost plan for the drop off, you know? Because here's the other hard thing. Gabe's not getting paid basically until March. So we're gonna be kind of coasting till then. So that's gonna be rough. And I don't have a con until February. So that's kind of where we're at. So I'm gonna have to figure out something. Gabe was thinking about doing a Kickstarter for his other book he wanted to do. And I mean, that would help, but there's no guarantee on that. Thank you for your feedback, though, Nightshade. I'm always thankful for it. But yeah, like, if I did it now, I'd be a little bit afraid of that just because at least now I'm semi-guaranteed the amount that people are on. But if I change it now, yeah, I shouldn't change it now. If I changed it now, it would drop, and right now we really need it. So, I don't mind doing it right now for that much. I'm okay with that. But yeah, in the future I might have to. Your new proposal plan or your old one? Is it the old one? Because you had gone through snowboarding, then you went to dinner, doing it at a dinner. I think we had kiboshed that, though. I think I told you that was too plain. Don't do that one. No, I don't think you've told me a new one. New plan? Alright, hit me. Let me hear it. I'm going to do these little spots that kind of break out through the light here. So if my light source is in the cauldron, I'm going to kind of blur it around here so it breaks through all these little cracks. I confuse myself with my own line art sometimes, especially if I haven't done it in a while. Like, I haven't revisited this piece. I haven't even seen this piece before today for like a year or something. So the fact I don't even know what my line art's about here does not surprise me one bit. This song always sounds like a Ghibli song to me. I don't know what's up with that either. You guys, give me your favorite Ghibli movies. I always like learning about people through their favorite Ghibli movies. Chris Ron, Antonio Noxus. Oh, Emily! Oh, I tabled next to Emily at Emerald City this year. Oh, I'm so glad to see her as someone's favorite artist. That's so good. She has guinea pigs and bunnies that she has at home. And her husband, oh my god, he is so good. Jesus, like, both her and him are like a power couple. He works in gaming, but, like, here, I don't know if you know his stuff. God, I'm trying to remember his name. And Butters, your breath is horrible. Shut your mouth. So if you like Emily, you might dig his stuff. His stuff is totally like 180 from her, but it's so solid. Oh my god. I geek at his stuff all the time. You know what, Serenity? Me too. Like, isn't that weird? That one I don't get sick of at all. Okay, she's super into Disney but has never been to Disney World. We are going to go to vacation in Florida for a week to visit her parents anyway, so I booked us a trip for 3 days. When, Nightshade? When are you going? Is that still in December? I thought you were going to propose to her this month. Did it change? I rented a private yacht. Wow. Hotel for dinner, personal ride to go watch fireworks. Oh, give her a tiara presented on a pillow. Oh, oh, oh my God, Nightshade, that's perfect. That's right, she is really into Disney, isn't she? I think that's great. I think that's incorporating what she likes, but also not to an extent where it's like kitschy. Like you're still doing your own thing while kind of, so it's like, feels like it's like 20% Disney and the rest is you. That's great. And using the area to its advantage. I'm proud of you, Nightshade. Proud of you. Oh, Alex, I think one of his things came up today. Is he gonna do, I think I saw that he was gonna do a Kickstarter with mice and dinosaurs coming up. That's him, right? Oh my god. Nightshade, holy shit. Oh no, this is a different guy. Yeah, I've seen this stuff though. Damn. Weird, there's another guy that's doing dinosaurs and like mice? Unless it's the same guy. Hold on. I need to confirm this. No, it is the same guy. Yeah. Sorry, he did this post today. This is the one I was talking about. Where he's doing like mice and dinosaurs. He needs to be careful though, because his mouse is way too close to David Peterson's. Which sucks because David Peterson's mice just have basically a cloak and a sword. And that's as far as they like go. So I'm sure he'll probably add more to it, but he needs to differentiate it a little bit more. But yeah, I knew I'd seen that. I think he'll do fine on his Kickstarter. I feel like he's been known for those dinosaurs for a while. I'm gonna have to look up those other ones. I screenshotted it, Alex, so I'm gonna have to look up those other people. I haven't heard of those other than Emily. That's all I've got. Like Antonio and Chris. Yeah, I hadn't heard of them. Nightshade, you are gonna be the hatred of all the guys you talk to. Because they're gonna be like, man, you know, Pete, he put so much pressure on us, man. How are we gonna compete with that? You're gonna be that guy. No one's gonna be able to top that, bro. No one. Ooh, Noxus. Well, these are good. He has some nice variation. Jesus, 21,000 followers? Has he worked on something big before? Oh, he did Bestiarium. Okay. Never mind. That's how I recognize him. Alright, Butters. You're too warm. You need to take a break. Yeah, he's got some solid variation. I like that. Really good foodstagram. Oh, cute. I am a sucker for food porn. If it's like really good looking food, I have no complaints. I fucking love food, you guys. I like to cook too. You are such a romantic, Nightshade. Like, it seeps off of you, dude. Like, even through the internet, I've felt that the whole time I've known you. You're such a sap. I love it. Oh my god. Alex, do they bring in food for you? That would be the best. And worse, but the best. That part of working in an office, I do not miss. I was so bad about that. Until I, like, lost 50 pounds after I told myself no. When I worked at an office, and somebody'd bring in food, or, like, the holidays when everyone brings in food and just leaves it in that area. Bad news, man. Bad news. I got really big. Oh, season and time. Cute. Oh, she's adorable. Oh, these are beautiful. Oh my god. I love her little egg tray meatball thing. Does she have a Pinterest? She looks like she probably has a Pinterest. No, Alex. No, don't feel sorry about that. Yeah, she should totally start one if she hasn't. Like, that looks like totally that kind of shit. Like, her quality of her photos is really, really good. Nightshade, I don't want to ask how much all that costs, but someday I will ask you, and I will want to know. I won't ask right now, but holy crap. You do know you have to pay for the wedding now, too, right? Unless you guys are going to be smart about it and have a cheap one. But knowing what she's into, she's going to want an actual nice wedding, I guess. Oh, I love that picture of that pasta she made. That's beautiful. God, I want all of this so bad. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, those macarons are so cute. I will eat s'more anything until I am blue in the face, like for real. Yeah, I figured Nightshade. I don't know, I feel like, you know, what you're doing is almost more important than the actual wedding. I don't know. What's up, Chillin' Beats? How you doing? But yeah, I could see her wanting an actual one. She seems very traditional in that sense. She's a cute little traditional girl. Yeah. Yeah. See, for my wedding, I didn't do any of that. For my first wedding, LOL. We had a really simple wedding. We had like 10 people, just family. And even from just doing a small wedding like I had, man, I wouldn't even do that small again. Like, if Gabe and I ever feel like doing it, we're just going to the office and getting the paper. Like, for real. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. But Gabe and I are pretty content not even doing that. Like, Gabe was in a 15-year relationship before we got together, and I was, like, married then divorced. So we're not in any hurry to do any of that crap. keep in mind I've known Gabe for like, what is it, 16 years now? That's the weirdest part. We've known each other like all our lives. So it's really strange. Ah, that's true. Alex, we probably would have you. We don't have many like in-person friends. It's crazy. A lot of them aren't even in this state either. Like, Gabe has more friends than I do. And all of them basically live in, like, California. All of his friends. Like, his close ones, anyway. He's got his brother and his 2 sisters, but they're usually pretty busy. But yeah, it was so funny when I first got married. I didn't go get my name changed because it was a lot of work. So I had his name on the marriage license, but I didn't federally change it. So when we got divorced, it was like super easy. Not to discourage anyone who wants to get married or who is married, but it was more funny than anything. I'm able to laugh at it now, so I like that. But you know, in Serenity, if that's the way you like it, that's the way you like it. Just keep it that way. There's no rules to this shit. Do whatever makes you comfortable, you know? Still on the board? Yeah, okay. You know, and I think, Serenity, you'd probably work best with somebody that's similar to that, you know? I mean, if you wanted anyone at all, which if you don't want anybody, that's fine too. But if you do, it would make sense that you'd probably get somebody that's similar to you like that. More of an, like, occasional, hi, see ya friendship, like once in a while, sort of thing. Never? That's okay. Some would say you're not missing much. Especially if you're, you know, pretty solid in your own shoes. You don't need a relationship. I think I want... yeah, I'll do this. Draw some more, like, steam waves or something coming off this. You're a bird lady. That's a relationship. Yeah, you shouldn't. I feel like if you need a relationship or you feel like you do, then you shouldn't have one. You know, the need thing, that means you're not comfy in your own skin, and I feel like you would just probably sabotage the relationship. I'm a firm believer of the whole, you know, having somebody that's like not your other half, but your other whole. You don't want someone to complete you. You want to be complete and have someone else, you know. That whole thing. But then again, you know, if you don't want a relationship and you just want, you know, casual partners all your life too, Whatever you want to do. As long as you're happy, who cares? You know, don't, well, obviously, don't hurt anyone, but do your own thing. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody. Maybe. Maybe, Serenity. Maybe there'll come a day when you're like, alright, let's give this another go. Or maybe you'll find another that you'll be like, okay, you're worth a shot, you know. And that's a good realization too, Beats. Knowing if you have time for it or not. That's smart. So a lot of people don't even think about if they do have time for something or not. Nightshade, you here? Did you get your Guardian today? Did that come? They were supposed to be delivered today or tomorrow. Can't remember which it is. But, what are you doing? Draw all the time, and regardless if it's good or not, don't beat yourself up, just keep drawing. Learn to assess, you know, where you're lacking in skill and where you want to get better, and make efforts to do that efficiently. But mainly, just draw all the time. Anyone can draw really well. They just need to kind of reprioritize their life to be able to do it and give it time. Just like anything. If I wanted to be the best bassist in the world, I'd just have to like reorganize my entire life and put all my time into that. And then I could potentially be the best bassist in the world. But really it's all about time and dedication to something. And starting small. Don't just start off doing giant canvases or anything. We're firm believers that you start small. So, you know, start on small paper with just a couple materials. Don't go all out and buy a whole set of something. You know, if you're curious about markers, buy 3 markers and work with that. Work on 5x7 paper. You know, don't bite off too much too soon because you're most likely to fail. The analogy we usually make is like, you know, working on a huge canvas is like if you've never worked with wood and you decide, hey, I want to build a table. It's like you don't know what you're doing even with, you know, wood versus how to use a saw, how to do this, how to do that. How do you expect, you know, to make an entire table, like an ornate table, if you don't even know how to whittle something or cut something with a bandsaw? It's like you have to start small, learn how to use things, learn how the materials work and everything like that on a small scale, because then you can eventually kind of graduate to bigger canvas sizes and more expensive materials, things like that. So, always start small, regardless of what it is. Well, art classes, let me tell ya, art class does nothing if your mind isn't in it. So you have to know how to learn too. So depending on why you went to art school or took art classes, that's gonna say something about, you know, how you learn and where you're going. So why did you take the art classes? What was your impetus to take them? Like what made you want to take them? Butters. Oh, my dog's walking off. Oh, your parents get your mail, Nightshade? Okay. Making sure. What are you doing, honey? You wanna go see Papa? You wanna go see him? How about you, Chancho? Learn shading and draw people. Only learned shading people. Clueless. You mean you didn't know where to shade them? Is that what you meant? This is how big this pencil really is. I need a sharper tip or else I'd just use my mechanical one. You imagine it being easy? Well, how come? Oh man. You guys hear Gabe's game. I forgot to close his door. Oh, see, and that's the thing. You don't always have to draw people either. So maybe you're like me. Usually I draw animals. I'm not one for drawing people. I can draw people, but I don't like to draw people. And maybe you're like that. Maybe you want to draw cars or buildings or something else. Maybe you don't want to draw people at all. So don't let the fact that you weren't good at drawing people deter you from trying art in the future. I'd keep experimenting. Maybe if you do enjoy drawing still, that you haven't found the kind of thing you like to draw. So you just need to kind of keep at it and, you know, draw a bunch of different things. And then maybe one will resonate with you, and then you can kind of dig into that. Like, maybe you draw a Ferrari, and you're like, oh my fucking god, I love this. This is the best. I'm gonna draw Ferraris. And maybe you draw Ferraris, but you do them differently, and maybe you become known as the Ferrari guy, and then you're happy forever. There you go. Man, why is this so... looks a little bit grainy to me. Well, just set aside like 15 or 20 minutes a day if you really want to try to get better at it. And, you know, draw a little bit every day, seriously, you know. And you don't always have to draw realism either. Don't let that, you know, that affect it either. I don't know why this is so grainy. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next on this. Oh man, Nightshade, Serenity, Alex, Kristen, are you guys still here? Oh, you like realistic stuff? That's cool, man. Maybe start with that. Yep, okay. I want to show you guys something. I'm gonna post this on Instagram at some point. I'm thinking on my birthday, but I was thinking you guys might think it's cute. To show that I'm kind of an OG. Let me see if I can find it. At least Kristen, you might get a kick out of it, because, you know, kids. Let's see. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this kid. This guy. Be a paw pal, y'all. Look at that. Oh my god. No, feel free to interrupt. Come on. Look at my teeth. I'm still the same. I got a ponytail in the back. Look at that. I got a dinosaur shirt. How cool am I? I dress exactly the same. I even have dope shoes like that still. My dad sent me this, and I was like, oh my god. Nothing wrong with Crayola, man. Let me tell you. If you're an artist at heart, or if you're skilled, you can make good art with anything, even Crayola. Like, we buy Crayola markers and crayons because it's just fun. It's a good way to let loose, no matter your skill, you know? Be a paw pal! I don't know, I thought that was great. I won first place, you guys. I don't think you understand. Ugh, I wish I could, Alex. I don't think I have that many, like, I don't think I have that many on my computer. Like, I've gone through probably about 4 computers over the past decade, maybe? I don't know. I've got another one here, too. This was at an Animal Humane Society, by the way. So I won first place in this cute little contest. Look at this. I haven't seen these pictures in years, and my dad sent them to me, and I was like, oh my god. Look at this adorableness. I still had giant glasses and big teeth. I'm a nerd. I love it. I love it. I use a Mac, because if you're a serious artist, you use a Mac. I'm gonna say it because it's so true. I used to build my own PCs, and once I actually like went to college and had both PCs and Macs, you gotta use a Mac. Which Mac? I've got an iMac. It's the 27-inch. I got it in 2013? Yeah, I think I got it in 2013. It's still great. Like, it's doing so well. I think I was like 10, Serenity, if I had to like guess. I don't know, that looks like first grade. How old are you in first grade? Oh man, art for fun is the only way to do art, you know? I do it professionally, but that doesn't mean I don't do it for fun. Luckily, I get to do both. So, I think everybody to an extent does art for therapy. You know, whether we want to admit it or not, art is therapeutic, art is healthy. And everybody should do it in some sense, whether that be crafting or music or something. It's good for you. It's good for your brain, it's good for your heart. It's good for everybody. I think hobbies and art in general are extremely necessary to the human condition, man. You know? Okay, bye. You'd say 6 or 7? Yeah, I guess I could have been that old. Honestly, I don't know. I don't have any of my pictures from when I was a kid. It's kind of sad. Like, my dad sent that to me because he was going through a bunch of our stuff, and granted, him and I aren't on the best terms, ever, but he said he found that and he thought I'd appreciate it now, and I do. He knows that much about me, so... So there's that. But yeah, all the other pictures of me as a kid and whatever, I do not have those. So I can't even like look at other school pictures and be like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. What really sucks is now I don't have any yearbooks, and I actually worked on the yearbook 2 years? 2 or 3 years in high school. But I would have probably just wanted to keep those out of curiosity, but yeah, I don't have those anymore. Oh yeah, Alex, totally. We have one of the MacBooks downstairs, and it's kind of old. It was Gabe's old one before he got a Surface, which he hates. He hates his Surface. It's awful. I will concur. It's awful. But he also has an iMac too. So the Surface was his on-the-go one, but he had an iMac or a MacBook before that, and he'd really like a MacBook again. But I've got an iPad Pro, and that thing is almost just as good as a MacBook. But if you're doing like legit work, I would say get the MacBook. The iPad has been great for just sitting. I do majority of like my Patreon stuff on the iPad. God damn it, iPad. And then I bring it over, you know, to do this, because the iPad's really nice to just curl up with on the couch and just do stuff. Oh, I dig it. Length and color your hair. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Serenity. I actually really like that kind of stability in somebody. Once you go back, you never go back. I agree with that. Especially after building my computer since I was like in my teens. That is such a pain in the ass. I would never want to do that again. I mean, I know about all the good shit, and it's like, it doesn't even matter. The minute you build your computer, it's outdated. And at least with the Mac, it kind of updates until, you know, it can't anymore, basically. But, I mean, I've had this thing forever, and I love it. I think the people that build their own computers, though, from what I learned being in that realm, is they just take so much pride in it that they can't easily switch over, because that would mean forsaking all of, you know, what they had put into it. So, you know, I get it, guys, I get it. This is not dark enough for me. I want to go darker. It's been nice to kind of milk this drawing a bit. You know, I might just use a colored pencil just to add some texture to it, but also because I do want to go darker, but I don't necessarily want to use a darker marker. Maybe I will, though. If I can find a 60. Here, hold on. I'm sure I've got one here somewhere. That's 60, 63. I'll use those. Yeah, how dark is this one? Maybe. You hear Bruni snoring? Every time I hear that, even during the day, I get so tired because I'm so conditioned to be sleeping when I hear that. Because she sleeps in her room with us. So when she's snoring, you know, I usually hear it when I'm sleeping. So I'm super conditioned to get sleepy when I hear it. Right now I'm doing the cast shadows. So I should have probably done these earlier, but I didn't think I'd need a darker marker so badly. Why is this so grainy though? Hold on. I feel like there's a reason it's grainy. I am zoomed in on this thing. That looks a little better. At least you can see most of it. I remember when I drew this, I wanted something a little bit more surreal. And it switches its light source halfway through here. This isn't as dark as that, come on. Like maybe that dark. Oh, Alex. Do you know Natasha from the library? Yeah. So she actually became one of my patrons. And she seems pretty nice. She seems to be into geek culture too. She cosplays and stuff. I don't know if you know her really well. You probably knew that if you know her though. She seems really, really nice. Yeah, I could tell. I could tell. So it makes sense she became a patron. I thought that was cool. Honestly, I had no idea that putting our art in that hallway, in the little gallery you guys have, would have garnished so much attention that it got. I told Gabe, I'm like, I don't even know what this is gonna get us. You know, it's in a hallway, I don't know who's gonna even see it, you know? And Gabe and I both agreed, well, we wanted to get more into the community around here, so we were like, let's just do it anyway. Even if it doesn't, you know, nothing comes of it. But damn, did we make a good decision with that? Like, we found you found us, basically, and her, and, like, oh my god, that library is great, and the people that work there are great. I feel pretty lucky that we live, you know, in a town that has such cool stuff. I don't know, that was a really nice surprise, I guess. Because, I mean, really, usually when you do this kind of stuff and you put it in, like, you know, a coffee shop or, you know, you put your art up somewhere, it doesn't usually get as much attention as it did from, you know, the library. That was great. You always hope it does good, but, you know, it does well. You don't know, though. So, we're very happy to get that kind of response. That was really cool. Would you say that the library gets pretty busy? No! Wow! Really? I'm so happy to hear that. I'm glad that the library gets, like, busy. I was so afraid for a while that libraries were dying. It made me really sad, because when I was a kid, the library was my place to go. I mean, you saw the pictures. You could see that little girl at the library, couldn't you? Come on. Oh, I am still such a nerd. But not in the sense of like, pop culture anymore. But more so just nature. I'm a nature nerd. Whatever. Okay, so like I want to do a vignette around this piece, but I do not want to actually do it with the marker right now. If I do it, it might just be with pastel, honestly, later on. I don't think I'm going to do it with it now. But when I post it to Instagram, which I probably... I don't know if I want to do it right now. Fridays are usually wonky to post. Chacho, don't do that. You know better. Don't do that. But I'll probably put a vignette around it when I post it. I need to pump some of these values a little bit better. Yo! Do you like it? Is it gonna be good? I'm excited for you. I'm hoping Gabe and I will be able to get out more next year. Like, we've been so busy this year, we can't even leave. Like, we can't even leave the house sometimes. We'll be in here for stretches of weeks, just because we can't leave, because we're so busy. I hope next year we can, like, maybe I can actually get out to go to lunch with you, that sort of thing. Because the way things are right now, I would not be able to. Oh yeah, Kristen, go, go, go. You're sleeping for 2. I wish you luck. If I don't talk to you, you have a good delivery, okay? I want to hear about him when he comes in. I wish you the best of luck. I hope they stick around for even then, because I love libraries. It's just I know some libraries have closed in the past due to, like, government funding and all that stuff. But I really hope they can stand the test of time, as you say. Awesome. Take care, Kristen. We love you. You can read him the Sapin story. Don't worry, those gunshots are in a video game. We do not live in the hood. I think now I'm just noodling. I think he's done. There's some little things I'd probably do after the fact, but nothing right now. This basically turned out how I thought it would. Maybe I'll add it a little bit darker up here. What the hell? Why not? Let's go crazy. one of my things I need to work on is contrast. And I've done pretty good over the years at getting better at it, but could always get a bit more better, right? More better? Yep. That's what I said. Did you? Oh, Alex, good! Did you have fun on it? I'm so thankful that Glitterholic always, like she did last year too. She ran our Secret Santa, and I am so thankful for her. She knows that we get kind of bogged down with work and stuff, and we wouldn't be able to do it, but I always want to, like, have it, because I feel like the way we do it's really nice. You know, it doesn't have to be sent to anyone. It can just be, you know, done digitally, and I think that makes it a lot easier and a lot less stressful for people. But the fact she does it for us has always been so sweet. We're actually sending her a care package this year because she's so selfless about it, and it's so wonderful. She's a very nice person too. An evergreen to the foreground? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? And plus, I don't think I can. A lot of this I can't even, like, build on top of, unfortunately. So, like, if I could, maybe, if it made sense. Unless, are you comparing me to Bob Ross? No way. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Bob Ross is a saint. You know what? I forgot to add something I always put in. Drippy Magic. I'm not gonna go crazy with it because it's usually like reserved for cute magic, but I'm gonna put a couple in there. It also adds a nice texture too that like otherwise wouldn't be there. Since this was kind of a surreal piece to begin with, I'm okay adding things where it's like, what the hell is that? I'm totally cool with it. You know, playing with line, playing with texture, it's always pretty fun. Will I sell it? Yeah, definitely. So, being a freelancer nowadays, after I got used to the idea of letting my art go, once I realized there's no reason for me to keep my art once I'm done with it, I absolutely get rid of it. Because for me it just takes up space, and I learned to actually feel really selfish keeping it for myself. Like, there's no reason I need to keep it. It served its purpose with me. I got my XP out of it, you know? There's only like maybe 1 or 2 pieces I have lately that I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to this for a little bit. And usually it's because I have them for a book and I want to sell them when I release the book, so it's actually timed well. But there's maybe 1 that I keep for myself, and it's only probably going to be for a little bit. You know, the rest it'll eventually be given away, but at the time I'm like, yeah, this is nice. I like this one. But, yeah, that one will eventually go too. And the thing I like is that, you know, once you realize what you've drawn could probably make someone happier than it makes you, then you feel much better about giving it away. And as long as you scan it, you've still got it. So it's not like you ever lost it. And you know, when your art goes away and somebody buys it or takes it from you, they're adopting it. You know, they're literally taking it to take care of it in your stead. So then, you know, they'll probably love it and it'll make them happy and they'll frame it. There's only been 1 or 2 instances that I've sold an original where I didn't think it would end up better than when I had it. And that kind of breaks your heart. You know, but I don't know. That's a weird one. But for the most part, they end up better than they were. And if it makes someone happy, I can't really justify against that, you know. But yeah, so I think somebody would probably dig this. So I'll give it away. There we go, that looks cool. I'm done with it. Let me look at it. Take my eyes out, look at it with someone else's eyes. Thanks, Alex. This is what I would probably refer to as my Don Bluth magic. I do put it in a lot of my stuff. Like, put it in this one. Usually it's really drippy, like it's drippy magic. Like in this one. It's drippy. And I say Don Bluth magic because if you know Don Bluth and you know what he's done, his, you know, like Secret of Nim, American Tail, Rescuers, God, he's done so much. All Dogs Go to Heaven. Like, the magic in those movies is very... It's tangible. It's like super viscous and thick. I like thick magic. I think it's cool. Hi, Beppis. Thank you. I just finished it. Have you seen the Max Smith Scurry graphic novels? I've heard of them. If they've got mice in them, I'd probably try to avoid them though, because of that reason I told you earlier. Because I don't want to bite off people. Like, I was so mad when I saw David Peterson, the guy that does Mouse Guard. He did a piece. It was a long piece with a mouse and a bunch of moths, and they were in like a procession. And I was a little bit upset because I had drawn something so similar to that, and I saw it and I was like, you know what? I can't even really post this. Because I feel, for one, the people that follow me probably follow him. If I post it, they're going to think I'm ripping him off because, you know, just because we did it around the same time and they might be more familiar with his work, they might think I'm biting off him. So it's like, I didn't even post it because I felt like, well, shit, you know, this is too similar. I can't even, you know, but I probably should have posted it anyway. I'm probably overthinking it. I found out no one seems to know who Owly is, and I thought everybody knew who Owly was, so it's one of those things where it's like, your world isn't as small as you think it is a lot of the time. And the times you don't think it's small, it is. It's weird. I feel like it's super backwards. How you doing tonight, Beppis? I think I'm getting ready, though. I think I'm almost done. Let me just make sure this is what I'm thinking of, though, Alex. Oh! It's this one. No, I haven't actually dug into these. Oh, they don't wear clothes, do they? Well, good for him. Did you ever see Ryan Lang's art? Ryan Lang is probably one of my favorite people. Oh, here. Let me hook you up. He's done some fantastic preliminary work for some things. Unfortunately, his Instagram is like all copywritten stuff because he's actually worked on properties, but I'm trying to find his original works. Well, I mean, this one for starters. He did a Legends of the Guard story for Mouse Guard, and I mean, he did fucking phenomenal. Like, his lighting is next level. Like, I can't even. His understanding of color is so good. I dig it hard. And it's funny because I don't really want to ever use a ton of color, but the people that use color well, I love it. I love it. But yeah, he's worked on a ton of huge projects. Oh, I know what I could do. Hold on. Something else that'll help this. Without me drawing a vignette, how do you get across that there is a strong light source, other than kind of what I've done? Another small thing you can do. Right? Isn't he good? I love him. This stuff's great. Let's do the shadow pull. That is what I'm going to call it. I don't know what it's actually called, but we're going to call it the shadow pull. Oh yeah, Alicia. Yeah. She's great too. So many good artists. So somebody that was at Gen Con last year? Alex, I forget. Did we talk about Gen Con? Have you been to Gen Con? I'm so sorry, I forgot. You've not been to Gen Con. Okay. So I love the crap out of Gen Con. Like, it's my best con, hands down. Dragon Con is also good, and Emerald City. Those are my top three. And New York, if I can, like, go. But I don't like to go to New York alone. Like, I can get into New York every year that I've tried. But since Gabe and I don't go together anymore, I don't want to go to New York alone. So there was, for the most part, a lot of the artists at Gen Con kind of blend together. Mainly because they're all fantasy artists, they're all book cover artists, they're all Wizards of the Coast artists, Spectrum artists. Like, they're all at the top tier of stuff, right? This guy stood out to me, and even though he's super digital, which usually tends to blend in with all the other stuff, his stuff was good. I enjoyed him. NYC makes me feel so guilty, though. Like, I'm not a city person, just to start off with, but, like, every time I go to New York, I feel horrible. And I think it's because, I don't like the trash in the streets. I don't dig that. I'm not into that. I don't like that the dogs don't have anywhere to pee and they just kind of pee in the streets. I'm like, ugh, gross. But also, since, I dress up like an elf for the convention, right? And every time I have to walk to the con, I'm doing, like, I feel like it's a walk of shame, because I have to walk past a bunch of homeless people. And if I have, like, leftovers and stuff, I usually give it to them. But I just, the fact that I'm dressed the way I am, it's like a guilt trip. Heavy, heavy guilt trip. I hate it. It makes me feel awful. And it's like, I don't want to get an Uber or anything, because that costs money. But it's like, it was easier when I'd walk with people. But knowing I'd have to do that walk being alone, I couldn't do that. 18 miles? Like, for real, miles? That's insane. I haven't even heard of that. The only places Gabe and I went when we've been there the past couple years was we went to the Nintendo store, because you have to. And then we always hit up Kinokuniya's, because those are really good for, you know, some art stuff. And then we went to Kremer, which is like the god of watercolors store. If you want watercolors, you go to Kremer. But yeah, like, I don't know. I can't do it. It also, like, it's too busy. It feels like a state fair all the time. Like, it's got that smell of a state fair. It's got the amount of people for a state fair. Like, I have to hype myself up to go out. Like, it's a commitment, you know? Like, that whole con, when I get home, I am just burnt. It is so just overwhelming. I wouldn't mind going there when I didn't have to do it for work, though. Because it sounds like you've got a bunch of places that sound pretty cool. Hi, Chancho. What are you eating, Bruni? Well, I probably have to go soon, guys. Gotta work on some work. So this helps show where the light's kind of coming from. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome! Oh my god. Lion King costumes? That'd be so cool. I just want to see those in person. I bet they're just absolutely artfully made. Oh man. Alright, I'm gonna duck out. I didn't know it was 11. I thought it was 10. Hey. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Alex, it's always so good to talk to you. I'm so sorry we never get to really hang out in person, but I can't believe how busy I've been. In the future, I swear to God. Swear to God. Alright, so I probably won't see you guys till next Friday, probably? But you're welcome, Serenity. Thanks for hanging out. You get some sleep, okay? You guys have a good Christmas and holidays if I don't talk to you, alright? I'm grateful for all of you. You have a wonderful time. Be safe, have fun, eat lots of good food. I'll see you later. Bye!